Well, we have a lot to talk about today, guys. Holy hell, have we got a lot to talk about today. And I think that we're all going to have, or at least I'm going to have, some much deserved beer during this stream because, of course, it is happy hour. Welcome to The Cult, guys. The Cult is a show that I stream Monday through Friday on YouTube, on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, and on Rumble, where we talk about the far left. We do deep dives into the far left. I show you things that the far left is doing that no one else on the internet is showing you. And I got to tell you guys, the effectiveness of my teaching methods have become pretty clear in the last couple of days. I mean, I don't mean to brag. I don't mean to like pat myself on the back unnecessarily or anything, except I do think it's necessary because the effectiveness of my teaching methods just keep getting proven in the real world over and over and over and over again. And believe me when I tell you that no one is more shocked about this than me. I didn't actually expect to be in this position, but now I am absolutely convinced, beyond all shadow of a doubt, that the universe has ordained me for some reason to be in this position at this time. And we're going to talk about why. Now, we have a lot to do today, guys. First of all, we are going to drink beer. I do have some beers, and we're going to do that. And if you have alcohol, I highly recommend that you get it. What we're going to basically be spending most of our day doing is there is a live stream from Colombia that is being done by this lefty news outlet called Breakthrough News. Of course, my computer is running really slow right now for some reason. I don't exactly know why. Probably because I have 8,000 windows open. Let me shut some stuff down, see if I can make my computer run a little faster. That would be nice. Maybe if I shut down my email with 200,000 unread messages, that'll help out. Anyway, so have any of you been keeping track of what's going on in Colombia? Because I've been posting out. There's been live feeds coming out from Colombia. It's actually really interesting, and I thought we would tune in on the live streams today. As you guys may know, if you've been following my work, the students at Colombia have been protesting for the last several days about Israel and Gaza and divestment and all this stuff, and the university isn't doing what they want them to do. And the university called the cops on the students and tried to break it up, and that didn't work. And then the students came back, and now they're doing these marches all over the city. They're causing all sorts of trouble, and the students seem to be saying that they're going to stay there as long as they need to. But guess what? Colombia's graduation is in a couple of weeks in exactly the land that the students are occupying with their newly formed autonomous zone. So I thought we could just spend some time watching this live stream. If there's nothing interesting going on, we can rewind the live stream. There was also a live stream from last night. Well, I wouldn't say no. You guys always underestimate these people. I just today had a conservative tell me, Carlin, the reason the students are protesting and we're not protesting is we have jobs and the students have nothing to do. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This is your explanation. You've been watching my content long enough to know better. I don't like it when people hang around my channel and watch my content and then learn nothing. Either you're going to learn something and you're going to catch up, or you're going to go back to the retarded conservative outlets. I hope you learn, but this answer is not correct. And you've been watching more enough of my content to know that this answer is not correct. So we'll see where you go with this. We're going to watch this live feed today. We're going to drink some beer. Yep, they have a whole, well, no. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. Don't pull that shit here. We are not the conservative retard fucking shitposting channel here. You either come here, you take it seriously, or you GTFO. Are people donating food and water? Yes, they have a communal kitchen set up. They have a whole communal kitchen set up. They have a press area. They're doing training. They had a whole training seminar earlier today for people who were willing to be arrested by the police. There are people hopping the fence around Colombia to get into the protest. I know because the media themselves hopped the fence earlier. So, guys, this is socialism playing out in the real world today. It's happening right in front of us right now. So we're gonna watch a little bit of this. We might rewind, we might fast forward, we might take a look at last night's stream, just depending on what's going on. But I just don't think there's any better way to learn about the left than to actually watch the left in the real world, and we have it happening right in front of us right now. And so that's what we're going to be watching today. But we got a lot to get into before that. Let me see. Mark says, "Did you see the changes to Title 4 to protect trans and non-binary people in school?" I did not. I did not, Mark. But that is a nightmare I'm sure I will be looking into another day. So we're going to do that. But we have some other stuff to talk about before we get into that. Now, I'm going to go with the actual news story first. So if you guys didn't see, there was a guy who literally lit himself on fire outside of the Trump trial. Literally lit himself on fire. And I saw the whole uncensored video of it too. And I don't know if you guys have ever watched a guy burn alive before, but that was a little disturbing for me. I like disturbing content as much as the next person. I'm a little bit masochistic in that regard, but like actually watching a guy burning to death was maybe more than I could have handled. And I don't know, I had some feelings about that, but that's not the point I want to make. As soon as I saw this, literally as soon as this is the point I want to make about my approach to understanding the left and my teaching technique. So I'm going to use a tragedy of a man literally lighting himself on fire to demonstrate that I am always right and perpetually right, and everyone should listen to me because I am always right. I am 100% correct on predictions I make like this. I literally have gotten 0% of my predictions like this over the last 4 years wrong. Literally, the minute that this news broke, what did I tweet? Revolutionary suicide is a socialist thing. I knew this guy was a socialist from the minute I saw this. And I think many members of my community that watch my content knew this guy was a socialist as well. And the reason that all of us knew this guy was a socialist, I think you're retweeting him too, so it doesn't, yeah. The reason that we all knew this is we spent a couple days this week watching a Jim Jones documentary about the People's Temple, that massive socialist project, because Jim Jones was a massive socialist. He was announcing all the time he was a socialist. He brought 1,000 people to Guyana in order to create a socialist commune, and then like hundreds of them ended up committing suicide in an act of revolutionary socialism. And that's one of the things we were talking about this week. And so we watched that documentary. We heard them talk about not revolutionary socialism, revolutionary suicide. There it is. So we watched the documentary. We heard them talk about the idea of revolutionary suicide. And then guess what? We started doing our own research into, is this revolutionary suicide thing a socialist thing? And it turns out just the other day, the Washington Free Beacon reported on, and we're going to listen to this audio at some point. I literally have it on my desktop. This is from the Washington Free Beacon from like a week ago. Revolutionary suicide. UCLA psychiatrists cheer self-immolation in leaked audio. UCLA, massively socialist. So I think everyone in my community knew what revolutionary suicide looked like when we saw it happen right in front of us. But of course, we should never jump the gun and say this guy was a socialist committing an act of revolutionary suicide. You know, maybe we shouldn't jump the gun, but then more information started to come out. Dude was holding a sign that says Trump is with Biden and they're about to fascist coup us. That sounds a little socialist to me. The guy's manifesto came out. Apparently, this guy had a Substack in which he published his manifesto. I didn't read it closely, but other people did. And oh, look. To my friends and family, witnesses, and first responders, I deeply apologize for inflicting this pain upon you, but I assure you, It is a drop in the bucket compared to what our government intends to inflict. Because these words are true, this is an act of revolution. There's also a video of this guy singing about the revolution. Not the B reports. The man who set himself on fire left a manifesto about the evils of capitalism, fascism, and climate change. Has long work history with Democrat campaigns, although he doesn't like the Democrats any more than he likes the Republicans, which tells us he is a socialist. Well, it's funny you asked that, honest dog. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. On Reddit, this guy, per Honest Dog's observation, was literally identifying as an anarcho-communist. An anarcho-communist is a socialist. It's another term for socialist. It's a socialist who doesn't believe the government should exist, but they still would have organized, like a socialist organizing, like collectivist little compound. They just don't want the capitalist government to exist. Most socialists think they're anarchists, and they're not anarchists. They just don't believe that their form of government is the same as the capitalist government, which is why they call themselves anarcho-communists. They're not really anarchists, but they think they are. Antifa are anarcho-communists. So I said again, socialist, socialist, socialist. And then Matt Wallace, who you really shouldn't trust on Twitter, but he's tweeting a photo in this one. And so the photo is really what I'm concerned about. Dude's wearing a Bernie Sanders shirt that says, "Eat the rich." Socialist. So I'm just saying that I called that this guy was a socialist literally the moment that I heard about this, and I explained why, because revolutionary suicide is a socialist thing. And every single thing that came out after that backed up what I said at the very effing beginning. Now, of course, we have people like Libs of TikTok. Libs of TikTok is running around going, actually, let me bring this up. Let me see if I can bring it up. Bot DM'd it to me. Hang on. Let me show you the expert analysis that's coming out of the conservative right now. Because it's just like, yo, I should have had this up. It's going to take a second to load. Hang on. I got to get into my DMs. My computer is running slow. Probably because this VPN is running. Why is my VPN running? Shut that shit off. Come on. Load, damn it. Load. Hang on. I know it's in this list of DMs. Here it is. Oh, shit. Hang on, guys. Sorry. One sec. We're almost there. You're almost there. There we are. Here is the expert analysis from Libs of TikTok. Max, the man who lit himself on fire outside of the Trump trial, wrote this unhinged rant against Donald Trump. He suffered from Trump derangement syndrome. I mean, I'm sure that's true. But is that actually the most important thing that people need to know in this equation, that he suffered from Trump derangement syndrome? The expert analysis on part of the conservative right. Naruto says, no matter how much we disagree with the socialists, we have to respect people who are willing to die for their beliefs. God knows conservatives aren't. I don't know about that. I don't know that I have a massive amount of respect for anyone who lights themselves on fire. I think that's not something I want to show respect for, Naruto. I mean, I appreciate the fact that you're saying that he lives by the courage of his convictions. I'm not going to be here on the internet endorsing anyone lighting themselves on fire. I think that's a really bad idea. And so, yes, conservatives are weak and feckless and cowardly and won't do anything and are ridiculous and just whine and complain all the time and have no idea what's going on. But that doesn't mean we light ourselves on fire, okay? Don't do that. It's a bad idea. So I was right. I was right about that. I'm just saying. But there's something else I want to talk about. There's something else I want to talk about. And I apologize because I said I wasn't going to talk anymore about James Lindsay. And to be honest, this didn't actually start with James Lindsay. It didn't start with him at all. This started with a woman named Lisa Logan. Now, Lisa Logan is like, she fancies herself like a social emotional learning expert, and she doesn't like what's going on in the schools, and she's kind of like one of those moms for liberty people. But I followed her, and every once in a while she got some stuff right, and I wasn't really paying that much attention to her until last night when people started tagging me in this tweet in which Lisa says, some other kids are drawing on their sneakers to mimic they have paws like animals. This is part of a larger thread that she's doing about her daughter. This is what happens when queer theory, Gnosticism, is taught in schools. Subjective feelings about oneself, regardless of truth, is honored. There is no limiting principle. So, people started tagging me in this, and I responded to it, and I said, queer theory is absolutely not Gnosticism, and I say that as someone who has gone undercover at more than a few queer events. It's about abolishing the gender binary and the nuclear family. You guys keep lying to people, and this is why you keep losing. And then, and I also quote tweeted it, and I said basically the same thing. And then, predictably, Lisa blocked me. Just for saying the absolute correct truth, which is that queer theory is about abolishing the gender binary because they believe capitalism created the gender binary, which put men in the workplace, women in the home doing the unpaid labor of raising the next generation of proletarian workers. That is the nuclear biological family. It is also an indirect attack on the nuclear family, which the left believes they need to abolish because they believe the nuclear family upholds capitalism. And so the ultimate goal of queer theory is to abolish the gender binary and to abolish the nuclear family, because those things are both necessary if they want to abolish capitalism, which is defined as private property ownership, which is their ultimate goal. Now, we try to keep telling you guys, there are several members of my community. Every time we see, and look who's, by the way, look who's in Lisa's banner. James. Hi, James. So this is like something that's been going on for several months now, which is anytime me or my community members try to go in and have a reasonable conversation with the James Lindsay stands about what queer theory is, and we provide video evidence. It's not as though we're just making stuff up. We literally provide video evidence. They don't engage with us, and they block us because they don't want to hear it. Well, this escalated. And Bot got blocked by Lisa. I think Sin was blocked by Lisa without even interacting with Lisa, which I think is really interesting. I took a look at Lisa's Twitter feed in my sock account, and lo and behold, although Lisa has been tweeting a lot about Gnosticism, Lisa has never once tweeted the phrase gender binary. Now, if you're talking about queer theory at all, you know that in every single queer theory presentation that we watch, they talk about the gender binary explicitly as a major part of the presentation because their explicit goal is to abolish the gender binary. So why is Lisa tweeting about Gnosticism and the gender binary? Gnosticism and queer theory, but not saying gender binary at all if she's hinged into reality? Oh, wait for it. Don't give away the punchline to this, Honest Dog. Don't give away the punchline. Then Reagan steps in, and Reagan, always the voice of reason, posts actual video clips of actual socialists talking about how this is about abolishing the gender binary, which is what those clips are. You can find those clips on my Substack. Let me just get the URL, the little banner here. You can find these clips on my Substack, which is Carlyn, KARLYN.substack.com. And Reagan, very nicely, because Reagan is always super nice when she's trying to make a point, much nicer than me. Reagan says, Lisa, please listen to this helpful information from Carlyn. The real activists are clear. They never mention Gnosticism or anything even remotely close to Gnosticism when it comes to queer theory. It is only about abolishing capitalism, the gender binary, and the nuclear family. Every time they say it explicitly. Well, Lisa responded to that, and she says, these people are a part of the outer circle. They don't know the real agenda. You don't think I have receipts too? To which Lisa was met with a bow ton of replies saying, show your receipts, show your receipts. Where are your receipts? What are the receipts? No, we don't believe you have the receipts. Guess what? Lisa never posted the receipts. And I've been checking her Twitter just to make sure she didn't post them in a different place. And she has not posted any single receipt because she doesn't have any receipts, because she's bluffing. And then Lisa blocked Reagan. Lisa blocked Reagan for this perfectly nice tweet where Reagan's like, Lisa, here's primary source video evidence. So not only did Lisa not provide receipts, she actually blocked Reagan for her trouble. Now, at this point, I started having James Lindsay's people coming into my feed saying, the only reason you believe that queer theory is not Gnostic is because you are a Gnostic, Carlyn. And there's more than one tweet about this. Like this person explicitly, hang on, let's go into their replies. I can show you. This person, there's even a better one that she did. Hang on. Carlyn is literally a religious Gnostic and thus takes offense to pointing out the root cause. That wasn't the only one. Hang on. Here it is. Carlyn, you are literally a Gnostic by faith. It is your religion, your spiritual life coach, and you spew actually Gnostic doctrine just because you're too historically ignorant to know that you belong to the religion of the serpent. Doesn't mean it's not true. Now, I found this a little curious because I've been like a generalized spiritualist for like 20 years. I have learned from teachers all over the world. I've learned from shamans. I've learned from witches. I've learned from astrologers. I've learned from all sorts of different types of people. I've done lots of different things. I've dabbled in many different areas. I have developed over the course of 20 years a belief system that I think works pretty effectively for me. But it is not a belief system that I would ever actually classify as Gnostic, because Gnosticism is like a specific thing and it involves hidden knowledge. That's like what Gnostic means, hidden knowledge. I don't believe that there's any knowledge hidden from anyone. So just on that basis alone, I actually can't possibly be a Gnostic because I don't believe that there's any hidden knowledge. I believe we all have access to all knowledge. All we need to do is want to access it. So it was a little surprising for me to have James Lindsay supporters come into my feed and tell me what my spiritual beliefs are and declare you are a practicing Gnostic. What? Excuse me? Am I part of the Gnostic sex cult? Is this where this is going? Seriously. Seriously. And then Logan Lansing, and I found this on Lisa Logan's timeline. Logan Lansing tweeted something interesting. Logan Lansing, of course, is the person who wrote the book about the Gnostic sex cult with James Lindsay. And apparently he tweeted a passage from his book that completely misses the goddamn point, but is relevant to the discussion. After Beauvoir and Foucault, Judith Butler, the queen of queer theory, argues that we don't have a gender. We perform our gender. That is, we act in the world. The action reflects back on us and society as gender. So gender is something you do, something you construct. It manifests itself in action. How creative. Now, first off, Logan Lansing is completely missing the point of Judith Butler in this. It's like gone right over his head, in that the reason that Judith Butler says that gender is performative is because the goal is to abolish the gender binary. But that's not Logan Lansing's position. That's not his position at all. What he's saying is they're making gender an act of creativity. Look at his tweet. He said, Marx said, we are creative and social. Do you guys know why James Lindsay declared that I had a personality disorder because a member of my community wrote a fan fiction? Because apparently James Lindsay and Logan Lansing and all of their followers are declaring war on creativity. They think that creativity is a problem. They think that creativity, creating things, is a Marxist endeavor to advance queer theory. But it gets crazier. It gets crazier than that. Because after I found that, this is from Lisa Logan's timeline today. Now they're saying that Gnosticism means the law of attraction. Now I got to tell you, I about blew my brain exploded when I saw this. James Lindsay and his band of merry men is defining Gnosticism as the law of attraction. Oh, Rottweiler, it gets crazier. Rottweiler, it gets crazier than this. Wait for it. Guys, I understand the law of attraction. The law of attraction is like a specific thing. All the law of attraction is about feeling worthy of what you want emotionally, and already like convincing yourself that you're happy, you're worthy, you're successful, whatever. It's about having the emotions that are connected with whatever you want. And the idea is that if you can already feel like you're the most successful person in the universe and people love giving you money, and you can already feel like you're successful and accomplished and adored and loved and all those things, then that's how you attract those things into your life. You don't have to believe this, but that's what it is. Exactly. They're saying that Gnosticism is the same as manifesting. Exactly. Now, guys, the law of attraction works in a bunch of different ways, but I think we can all agree on the fact, like, let me just give you an example of how this might work. You want to get a new job. If you go out to a job interview and in your head, you're going, I don't deserve this job. I suck. I'm the worst possible employee ever. There's so many better people for this job than me. They're never going to hire me. Are you going to have a good job interview? If in your head you're shit talking yourself and you're going, there's no way I'm ever going to get this job. They probably have so many more qualified like applicants than I do. They're never going to like me. This is going to go horribly. You're going to have a really shitty job interview, okay? But if you go into that job interview and you're like, I'm the best person for this job, they obviously want me. I'm worthy of this. I've worked so hard for this. This is my time to get this job. You're going to have a much better job interview. That is literally all the law of attraction is. That's it. It's feeling worthy of what you want and then using that to project that into the world. It's acting like you already have the job. It's feeling like you already have the job. Henry Ford said this, whether you believe you can or if you believe you can't, you're right. That's what the law of attraction is. If you guys have ever heard of that book called The Secret is a really cheesy, really dumbed down, really overly simplified pop culture version of the law of attraction. If you guys have ever read Napoleon Hill, yes, Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill, like everyone has read Napoleon Hill. I promise you, Donald Trump has read Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill is talking about the law of attraction. And now, James Lindsay and his band of followers are on the internet declaring that the law of attraction is Gnosticism and the origin point for queer theory. I about lost it when I saw this, but it gets even better. It gets even better. Because then I remembered, hang on, we're going to get the super chat from Rottweiler. They don't even know epistemic Gnosticism and agnosticism. Gnostic equals 100% certain, agnostic not certain, like the distinction between Gnostic, agnostic, atheism. They need to read basic philosophy. Oh my God, Rottweiler, just wait. Then I remembered, well, hang on. Then I saw this tweet from Lisa. And Lisa is saying, watch this. The man sitting next to Oprah on the couch is Reverend Michael Beckwith of the Association for Global Thought. The new thought belief of the law of attraction took our culture by storm because Oprah platformed it on her show. And then they're literally talking about The Secret and they're shit talking The Secret, which is like a pop culture law of attraction thing. But like Lisa Logan specifically mentioned Oprah. And I was like, hang on a second. James Lindsay was complaining about Oprah literally yesterday. This was yesterday. If you think I sound crazy now, wait until I start telling you about the new thought and evolutionary leaders. Don't worry. Oprah Winfrey already introduced you to almost all of them on daytime TV. Now James Lindsay and Lisa Logan and their band of followers are saying that Oprah talking about the law of attraction is what introduced the Gnosticism cult of queer theory to the masses. And oh wait, it gets better, because then our good friend Stony Baloney made this meme about this and said something about theosophical Oprah, and James had literally tweeted theosophical Oprah yesterday. But hang on, this is like the best part. You guys are going to die. What is this Google Drive thing? And look at this. This person is replying to Lisa Logan, so we know that Lisa Logan and James Lindsay are in fact in cahoots. What is this Google Drive thing? Well, I'll tell you what the Google Drive thing is. The thing that this Google Drive thing, Karen C, that James Lindsay retweeted and said, Theosophical Oprah, A Course in Miracles. Now, who here knows what A Course in Miracles is? Does anyone know what A Course in Miracles is? I do. I, in fact, have A Course in Miracles sitting on my desk under a pile of books. A Course in Miracles is about this goddamn thick. A Course in Miracles is like, I'm not going to say it's like a Bible because it's not like the Bible, but it reads like the Bible. It's as thick as a Bible. It's like, it's a philosophy book that basically is like the expanded like version of here is how you show up in the world and create the experience you want. The Course in Miracles is literally all about creating an experience that you want in the world. Yup, Everyday Therapist does a daily lesson. The Course in Miracles has all these lessons for you to kind of like work through pain and release anger and forgive people and to love yourself and to love others and to be of service. It's a really beautiful book. I read it. I have listened to the audiobook. I used to listen to the audiobook when I was like at the gym. It's wrong, not correct. It is not Scientology. That is not correct. It's basically about how to lead a good and fulfilling life. And James Lindsay has James Lindsay even read The Course in Miracles? Because The Course in Miracles takes like a year to read. The Course in Miracles, again, it's a big ass book. It is a giant, thick book. Nope, men read this too. No, it's not, bro. And if you're going to lie in my chat, you're not going to be here for very long. So you can decide whether or not you want to lie in my chat, or you can decide whether or not you want to be a part of, be involved in this conversation. Make your choice. But we don't spew bullshit like James Lindsay in my chat. Well, then you should have listened more and paid attention more to what it was. Either you're here to learn or you're here to lie. And I don't abide liars in my chat. You can decide. Yeah, well, I've taken Joe Dispenza courses. I've actually taken all of the I've done the Joe Dispenza, all the meditation retreats. And there is a lot of law of attraction in the Joe Dispenza meditation retreats. That's the whole thing about Joe Dispenza is you go, you create a vision for what you want in your life, you meditate, you learn to feel the feelings of what you want before you feel them, and that's how you attract them into your life. I've done the Joe Dispenza basic course. I've done the Joe Dispenza advanced retreat. I even did the Joe Dispenza advanced follow-up where you start your classes at 1 a.m. because then you start meditating at 4 a.m. because at 4 a.m. the melatonin levels are the highest in your head. I done all that shit. And guess what I have never seen? Guess what I have never seen in a Joe Dispenza class or in anything related to A Course in Miracles? There has never been queer nothing. Yes, bro, you are very correct. You need to look things up for yourself. And you need to act like you have an IQ higher than 75 and look things up for yourself. And then you will realize that Scientology has nothing to fucking do with A Course in Miracles. Nope, that's not what it's about. Congratulations. You've got one more stupid chat coming into my chat, and then you're going to get blocked. One more boneheaded thing, and we're going to remove you. I hate it when new people come into my chat and pretend they know everything when in fact they know nothing. It really bothers me. Either you're here to learn or you can GTFO. You can go run along to James Lindsay's audience. Nope. Wrong. We're putting him in a timeout now. He can decide whether or not he wants to continue to be here. My point here is this. James Lindsay is teaching people that things that he has never studied, never been involved with. I promise you, there is no universe in which James Lindsay has read A Course in Miracles. Because, and again, people in my chat can attest to this, it takes like upwards of a year to read A Course in Miracles. There are entire programs where you get like one lesson a day about one tiny little part of A Course in Miracles. And like by the end of the year, you will have done the full Course in Miracles. There is not a single goddamn thing related to queer theory or queer anything in A Course in Miracles. There is not a goddamn thing related to queer theory or queer anything in the law of attraction. It has no relation at all. And I have been in these communities since I was like 20 years old. I have been around these people since I was 20 years old. I never encountered queer nothing in any of these communities. There were very rarely even people with pink hair. Now, the people in the communities might be a little woo-woo and people might not be comfortable with that. But to say they were queer? Nah, bro. What people in these communities were trying to do was to love themselves, to heal themselves, to forgive people, to let go of anger, to let go of grief, to let go of pain, to figure out ways to serve the world, to figure out ways to attract more success into their life. All of these things that these programs teach are exactly the opposite of queer. Queer is about pushing back and destabilizing normativity. The people who are involved with things like A Course in Miracles, the people who are doing law of attraction, they're not destabilizing normativity. I mean, it's so ridiculous. Human Imagination says, as a manifestation teacher, it's bothered me when James speaks about Gnosticism. Well, congratulations, Jerry. According to James Lindsay and his band of followers, you are now in a Gnostic sex cult that promotes queer theory. I can't even, guys. I cannot even believe that this is a reality that we are in, that James Lindsay is really, and his friends are pushing the idea that queer has anything to do with any of this. James Lindsay has lost the goddamn plot. And not only has he lost the plot, but he is taking a bunch of people with him. Like the fact that Lisa Logan is literally incapable of dealing with primary source video evidence because the only thing in her head is Gnosticism, 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 law of attraction, law of attraction, law of attraction. It's all queer. It's all queer. Like, are you fucking kidding me? So I gotta say, I'm feeling a little vindicated right now because I'm feeling sadly vindicated because I don't want James Lindsay to be insane. I actually don't want this to be the truth. I don't want to live in a reality in which James Lindsay is so up his own ass that he has convinced himself that the law of attraction and A Course in Miracles are Gnosticism and therefore are queer theory, and that queer theory was spread to America by Oprah because Oprah talked about the law of attraction. Barbie, this is just incorrect. You got, oh my fucking God. Oh my fucking God. Barbie, the origins of A Course in Miracles is ancient knowledge from thousands of years ago. The origins of A Course in Miracles is older than the Christian Bible. So no, I don't know where you heard this. I don't know where you got this information from, but this is the problem, guys. The origins of A Course in Miracles does have a connection to early queer theorists. The origins of A Course in Miracles are older than the Christian Bible. That's the origin of it. It's a belief system and a philosophy that has been around for literally thousands of years, practiced all over the world for literally thousands of years. So, no, that is not a fact. And whoever told that to you made it up. The connection is not there. And if I ever see you saying that again in my chat, you're not going to be here for very long. Because we are not having this bullshit spread here. And people can complain about that all they want. Carlin's a cult leader because she won't let people spread lies in her chat. This is not real. I'm so pissed about this. I cannot even tell you. Rottweiler says queer is Marxist and postmodernist theory. Even Jordan Peterson was on the money before he sold his soul to the Daily Wire. Let that sink in. Yeah. So wouldn't this mean that James Lindsay is calling the QAnon shaman a queer Gnostic? Yes. Yes, it does. James Lindsay is literally calling the QAnon shaman a queer Gnostic. I wonder how the QAnon shaman feels about that. James Lindsay is calling Joshua a queer Gnostic. James Lindsay's calling me a queer Gnostic. Here's our typical James Lindsay supporter. You just want James to be wrong. You're in a crusade against everyone you disagree with. I used to like you, but you changed a lot. You are angrier, and every day I come here, you have a new target. When have you ever been here, bro? Has anyone ever seen TB in the chat before? Has any regular ever seen TB in the chat before? See, this is the type of lunacy that James Lindsay's bullshit causes. You just want him to be wrong. Bro. Yep. No one has ever seen TB in the chat before. No one's ever seen him. No one's ever seen him. Nope. 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 Never here. You think we can't snip through this bullshit, bro? And isn't it funny that it kind of looks like TB has a new account that's never been used before? Isn't that funny? Why don't you have a profile picture, bro? Have you ever been here before? TB, if you're such a fan of mine, what is the definition of capitalism? Let us know. How does the left define capitalism? Can you answer that? Because if you've ever watched my content before, you would absolutely be able to answer that question. Well, at least we know that TB is not, he's not a fan. I'm not a fan of anyone. I'm just here defending James Lindsay when I've never actually been here before. Sure, bro. Sure. Okay. Sure. Yep. Sure. We'll wait for that definition of capitalism, TB. We'll see how much of my content you've actually watched. I remember the day you watched James again. I watched you basically go through the 7 stages of grief as you found out how wrong he was. I wanted him to be right. That's true. I wanted James to be right. I didn't want him to be crazy. I wanted him to be right. Oh, wow. That's his only chat in his chat history. How funny. I didn't even know we could look at people's chat history. This is why you never believe things. I haven't been watching because every time I come, you are attacking someone else. Where? That's you, bro. That's you. Why have you never chatted in before, TB? Have you? Are you capable of providing that definition of capitalism yet, bro? We will again wait for TB to provide the definition of capitalism. So what I want to say is this. It is becoming, listen, I didn't want to say it like this. I really didn't want to say it like this. So TB still can't provide the definition of capitalism. Okay, so TB, we know you're full of shit and now you're getting banned. Goodbye. This happens every single time I talk about James Lindsay going insane. Is we have these random accounts come into the chat saying, I used to be a big fan of yours, but you've just changed so much and I just don't know why you're attacking everyone and infighting with everyone. I just don't understand. And the reason that happens is there are people who have never been here before who are only interested in running cover for James Lindsay's bullshit. But what I want to say is this. I've taken a lot of grief for calling out James Lindsay over the past several months. I now feel nothing but vindicated in every single thing that I've said. Because if it is truly James Lindsay's position, as it appears it is, that queer theory is a Gnostic sex cult and that Gnosticism means the law of attraction and A Course in Miracles. And the reason that queer theory spread to the masses in the United States is because Oprah talked about the law of attraction on her show and thus introduced America to queer theory. That is one of the most retarded things I have ever heard in my life. That has no basis in reality of what the law of attraction is. It has no basis in reality to what A Course in Miracles is. It is blatantly obvious James has never read The Course in Miracles, never studied A Course in Miracles, has never interacted with the communities talking about law of attraction and practicing the law of attraction. And I'm not even a big law of attraction person, to be honest. I'm not even really involved in those communities anymore, but I was at one time. And what I can tell you is there weren't no queer nothing going on at any of those events. And if you don't believe me, then go look for yourself. Queer is about destabilizing normativity. He's saying it in this tweet, Jerry. He's saying it in this tweet. He also said it here yesterday. This is James yesterday, Jerry. If you think I sound crazy now, wait until I start telling you about new thought and evolutionary leaders. Don't worry. Oprah Winfrey already introduced you to almost all of them on daytime TV. And then Lisa Logan follows up with that, saying that it's about the law of attraction. So James is very literally saying that Oprah introduced queer theory to the masses by talking about the law of attraction. It's fucking insane for anyone who understands this. And I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry to anyone who wanted to believe in James Lindsay like I wanted to believe in him. He has now lost the goddamn plot. So law of attraction is the idea of what you say and think will become your experience. Yes, that is all it is. What you say, what you think in your head and what you speak into the world will become your experience. That is literally all the law of attraction is. And so I'm going to say it. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's like an anti-history of Gnosticism. Exactly. So I'm going to say it. I think that James is forming his own goddamn Gnostic cult. I think the reason James talks so much about Gnosticism is he is quite literally forming a Gnostic cult. They are the only ones with the secret knowledge about how all of this is Gnosticism and a law of attraction is Gnosticism and A Course in Miracles is Gnosticism. and all of this is about queer theory, he is literally forming a goddamn Gnostic cult right in front of us. And I'm sorry, someone has to remain hinged into goddamn reality. Please stop being retarded, James. Often the law of attraction is used by mental health therapists, even if they don't know they're doing so. True. Maybe he has just run out of ideas. And this all makes sense because James is an atheist. He doesn't understand any of this. Anyway, we've got some other stuff to get to, so I'm going to stop ranting there. But anyone that ever thought I was wrong about James Lindsay losing his mind, you all owe me an apology. Anyone that ever shit-talked me about, like, how dare Carlin point out that James Lindsay is losing his mind? How dare Carlin point out James Lindsay is wrong? He is wrong. He is provably wrong. This latest thing, if this does not disturb you, that James Lindsay is being propped up by conservative influencers in order to peddle this insane, completely unhinged conspiracy theory, I just don't even know what to say. I really don't even know what to say. Anyway, we're going to get into our mainstream, guys, in which we are going to be tuning in to the protest at Columbia. And let me just see where they're at on this live stream. It looks like they're doing some stuff right now. Before we get into that, I do just want to do the beer poll. Hang on, I've got some beer. It's been sitting on my floor for an hour, so it's probably not chill, but we're going to talk about it. I've got some beer. You guys are going to get to vote on which beer I drank. Hang on. Oh no, what happened to my sound? What happened to my sound? Okay, it's back. I can hear myself. All right, I have 4 beers. I'm going to tell you about the beers very briefly, and then you're going to vote on which one I drink, and then we're going to choose. Then we're going to tune into this stuff at Columbia. The first beer is called Sourface Blackberry. It's a Berliner Weiss. I got this because I like sour candy, and so I thought that this might be a great way to start off. It is a blackberry sour beer. That is our first one. Now, not to be outdone, I also got this one called Sabbath because I thought the can looked badass. And this is a blackberry lemonade sour. So this is our blackberry sour face. And then we have blackberry lemonade. Those are our first 2 choices. And then I have this one because I had a cat on it. And I was like, what's that cat doing? This is called Backyard Prince. This is a milk stout with cinnamon and vanilla. So milk stout. And then our last one, a boba tea beer. Are you kidding me? I like boba tea. I like beer. So let's see how this is. Brewed with honeydew, bubble tea, coconut cream, and vanilla ice cream. So those are our 4 choices, guys. Let me know in the chat. There you go. I put the poll in the chat. Blackberry sour, blackberry lemonade, milk stout with cinnamon and vanilla, or boba tea with vanilla ice cream. Let me know which one you want me to drink. Let's tune into this protest at Columbia and see what's going on. Hang on. Hopefully the sound works. Oh, come on. Load. Don't fail me. You were just working.
I love this interview right now. Okay, so next up, we have something really special.
I have to turn down my mic.
Part of being Palestinian is not just to resist, but it's to exist, right? And that means we exist.
I can't turn them up anymore, guys, so you're going to have to...
all forms enjoy.
Okay, so one of the issues with this live stream is that the volume has not been as high as desired. So what I'm going to do is I'm turning down my microphone. Everyone needs to turn up the volume on their computer. I cannot turn up their volume, okay?
As
This was planned.
well
This is live. This is a live feed. This is a live feed from, this is happening at Columbia right now. Play.
All right. Let's give him another round of applause. Do you guys know what a zahruta is? Okay. Let's just for fun. Ready?
Boba tea it is.
As they're preparing, let's just hype them up a little bit. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, here you go. Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here. You guys.
Green beard is spilled all over me. Boba tea.
And I'm gonna sing for two incredible artists. They're actually both Egyptian, but they sang a lot of Palestinian songs and they made a lot of songs for the left in the Arab world. Thank you. The first person is Sheikh Imam. So Sheikh Imam was a sheikh and then decided to be an atheist, like a lot of us. And
an atheist like a lot of us.
He sang for the people. He was imprisoned actually when he sang most of his songs with his poet, Ahmed Fuad Najm. And we're gonna sing. Actually, right now we're gonna sing a folk Palestinian song that he made the version of. The song is usually very soft and beautiful. I don't know if you know it.
This beer is completely green.
Yeah, so Sheikh Imam has a really cool version, and we're gonna sing it. Thank you.
Wait, what? Where are you getting that? When did he say that? Are you kidding? Well, I mean, there is some truth to that. They don't think that capitalism's perfect, but where are you getting that? All right. I want to go back to earlier in the day because they're just singing right now. Let me go back to earlier when they were doing a protest. Hang on. I want to go back to earlier when they were, this was a march that happened earlier that I watched a little bit of. We'll come back. We'll go back and forth between live and like stuff from earlier. But if they're just singing, like I don't want to actually deal with that.
Sorry about that. We're running to catch up with the march. But if you're joining us now, we are.
Michael O'Fallon thinks the right wants to end capitalism.
Going up to Columbia University, and
there's some truth to that, but I don't think he understands why. It's not socialist. It's not the same thing. It's for different reasons.
There's been a
and it's not even like that big of a thing on the dissident right.
The last 3 days. Sorry. Okay. I'm not gonna run.
Hang on. Here's their march from earlier.
Viva, viva Palestina! Lucha, lucha Palestina! From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the sea to the river, Palestine will live forever. Palestine will live forever. Palestine will live forever. From Haiti to Palestine. Occupation is a crime. Occupation is a crime. From Haiti to Mexico. All the walls have got to go. All the walls have got to go. It is right to rebel. It is right to rebel. U.S., you can't go to hell. U.S., you can't go to hell. It is right to rebel. It is right to rebel. Israel, go to hell. Israel, go to hell. It is right Colombia, you can't hide. It's supporting genocide. Colombia, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. Colombia, we know you. You imprison children too. Colombia, we know you. You imprison students too.
The chants tell you what they believe. That's why the chants are important. They tell you what they believe.
Viva, viva Palestina! Lucha, lucha Palestina! Lucha, lucha Palestina! Brick by brick! Brick by brick! Wall by wall! Wall by wall! Zionism will fall! Zionism will fall! Brick by brick! Brick by brick! Wall by wall! Wall by wall! Israel will fall! Israel will fall! Brick by brick! Brick by brick! Wall by wall! Wall by wall! Zionism will fall! Zionism will fall! Brick by brick! Brick by brick! Wall by wall! Wall by wall! Zionism will fall! Zionism will fall! Up with liberation! Up with liberation! Down with occupation!
Liberation means liberate from capitalism.
Up with liberation! Down with occupation! From Harlem to Palestine! Occupation is a crime! Occupation is a crime! From Harlem to Palestine! Hey guys, stop. Occupation is a crime!
This does taste like honeydew, by the way.
New York City, you will see! Palestine will be free! New York City, you will burn! Stop. Why the millions will return! Palestine will be free! New York City, you will learn! Why the millions will return!
Guys, I'm going to go wash my hands from the beer. I'll be right back, okay?
To the sea. Palestine will be free! Palestine will be free! From the sea to the river! Palestine will live forever! Palestine will live forever! From the river to the sea! Palestine will be free! From the sea to the river! Palestine will live forever! In our millions, in our billions, we are all Palestinians. In our millions, in our billions, we are all Palestinians. Gaza, Gaza, you will rise. New York City's by your side. Gaza, Gaza, you will rise. Gaza, Gaza, you will rise.
All right, I'm back.
Columbia, by your side. New York City, you will see. New York City, you will free. Palestine will be free. Palestine will be free. New York City, you will learn. New York City, you will learn. By the millions will return. Refugees will return. Refugees will return. By the millions will return. By the millions will return. Viva, viva Palestina. Viva, viva Palestina. Lucha, lucha Palestina. Lucha, lucha Palestina. Viva, viva Palestina. Viva, viva Palestina. Lucha, lucha Palestina. Lucha, lucha Palestina. Justice is our demand. Justice is
Yeah, I just want to turn down the volume. Naruto says, I'm looking forward to tomorrow's conversation with communists. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, guys, tomorrow at 6 p.m., I'm going to have 2 real live communists for Socialism Saturday. It's going to be great. We're going to be able to ask them questions and talk to them about their ideas. And we're going to be cordial and nice. So everyone can come back and talk and meet the communists tomorrow at 6 p.m. That'll be great.
Then they don't get no peace. If we don't get no justice, then they don't get no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. If we don't get it, shut it down. If we don't get it, shut it down. If we don't get it, shut it down. If Gaza don't get it, shut it down. If Janine doesn't get it, shut it down. If Socialism doesn't get it, shut it down. If Palestine don't get it, shut it down. If the Bronx don't get it, shut it down. If Harlem doesn't get it, shut it down. If Brooklyn doesn't get it, shut it down. If Queens don't get it, shut it down. If our people don't get it, shut it down. 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 Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine.
All right, I'm going to fast forward a little bit. If my computer wants to cooperate. I want to get to parts where they're interviewing people. We've seen the chant a little bit.
Free Palestine. Free Palestine.
But they start interviewing people at some point.
Subject to arrest. All right? You're either go in the pen or you're going to be subject in the pen or you're going to be subject to arrest.
Hang on, I want to rewind. I want to rewind a little bit. What's going on here? Okay.
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the sea to the river.
Do anything about that?
Palestine will live forever. Palestine will live forever. We demand liberation. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine.
Into the pen. You got to go in the pen. You are blocking pedestrian traffic. You are blocking pedestrian traffic. Sir, you either go in the pen or you're going to be subject to arrest. All right? You either go in the pen or you're going to be subject to arrest. End the story. I'm going to give you a couple warnings and then that's it. All right?
Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine.
You're going to get arrested. Get in the pen or you're going to get arrested. You are blocking pedestrian traffic. You are blocking pedestrian traffic.
NYPD KKK. NYPD KKK. I don't like you're all the same. I don't want they're all the same. You get in the pink. I don't want they're all the same.
No, they don't. This isn't true. No.
I don't want they're all the same. I don't want they're all the same. NYPD, we know you.
What on earth makes you think that? That's not true.
NYPD, we know you. You're Israeli trained too. You're Israeli trained too. Let's keep it up. They can't stop us. We're here for the students. Let's go.
right off. Fuck right off.
Palestine. Up with liberation. Down with occupation. Up with liberation. Down with occupation. Up with liberation. Down with occupation. Up with liberation. Hands off!
Bro, you don't gotta touch her. You don't gotta touch her.
NYPD, KKK.
I don't know if you're all the same.
I don't know if they're all the same. NYPD, KKK. NYPD, KKK. I don't know if they're all the same. I don't know if they're all the same. NYPD, we know you. NYPD, we know you. You're Israeli trained too. You're Israeli trained too.
That's actually
NYPD,
true.
we know you.
They really do that.
You're Israeli trained too. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Up with liberation. Up with liberation. Down with occupation. Down with occupation. Up with liberation. Up with liberation. Down with occupation. There is only one solution. Intifada revolution. Intifada revolution. There is only one solution. There is only one solution. Intifada revolution. Intifada revolution. Intifada, intifada. Intifada, intifada. Globalize the intifada. Globalize the intifada. Intifada, intifada. Intifada, intifada. Long live the intifada. Long live the intifada. Brick by brick. Wall by wall.
Hang on. Guys, I need all the conservatives in my chat right now to rein this shit in. If the biggest takeaway, because I've seen people commenting on this and I don't like it. If the biggest takeaway that you're getting from watching real socialist activists in the real world is, God, they're annoying, they're stupid, they made me, like, all of the, get the fuck out. Because the point of this is to listen to what they're saying and to use it to learn about their perspective. Because those annoying brats, Woody, are kicking your ass. So how is it? How is it? And I will stop this chat and I will stop this video every single time this happens. How is it that those annoying brats are kicking your ass? How is it that those annoying brats are so much more effective than you can ever dare dream? Perhaps you should spend some time thinking about that instead of giving into your urge to own the libs. NYPD will fall.
Columbia, we know you. You prison students too. Columbia, we know you.
How's that?
Prison students too. Mic check. 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 Hey man, up to you. Repeat after us. Repeat after us. Repeat after us. We are here. We are here. Because we are on the right side. On the right side of history. Of history. And the students behind these walls. And the students behind these walls have also declared themselves. On the right side. On the right side.
institution.
It's nothing but a ruling class institution.
And the ruling class has pure fear.
Has pure fear.
Because of the strength.
Because of the strength.
Of the movement. For Palestine. The past 6 months. Has awoken. Millions of people. Across the world. Who have stood up. And declared themselves. Agents of their own future. And we have declared. That the future. Has no space. For Zionism. Or U.S. imperialism. Take note. That this institution. Is so afraid. Of our message. Both inside. And outside. Its walls. That it deploys a fascist police force. To repress the voices. Of the majority of the world.
I just want to speak to that real quick, and we may hear them talking about this later, but this is actually a really important point that I didn't realize yesterday. So yesterday, the president of Columbia University called in the NYPD to clear out the Liberation Autonomous Zone that the students had set up. And this was actually a really big deal because apparently, I learned today, the NYPD had been restricted from going on Columbia's campus since 1968. This was the first time since 1968 that they were allowed on the campus. And you guys can remember what was going on back in 1968. And so this is actually a really big thing that the president of Columbia called in the NYPD to clear that autonomous zone. Now, the autonomous zone went right back up, so nothing was actually accomplished. But the calling in of the NYPD really pissed a lot of people off. And because they called in the NYPD, that made the protest at Columbia grow like quadruple in size because these people believe that the police are the managers of private property. They believe they are the perpetuators of white supremacy. And so calling in the police was probably like a really bad mistake because it ended up having a Streisand effect because it pissed so many of these socialist students off. Because as you guys know, socialists, like their number one issue is abolishing the police, defunding the police, abolishing the prison industrial complex, because they believe that when they have their socialist utopia, they will not need the police or prisons or any of those things. And the police are just the managers of capitalism.
This institution is a training ground.
For the ruling class. And the students
have messed up its plans. This shows
the
threat that we are to the White House. And we will be here. And we will send our message. To our comrades inside.
Comrades.
We will encourage them. And we will be with them. As they continue their righteous actions. Until all of their demands are met. What happens on the campuses is visible to the entire world. So let's raise our voices. Keep our spirits high. Confident that the world is with us. And chant for a free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be so we can show
the broadness
the broadness
and the diversity
of the movement
for Palestine.
for Palestine.
Next is Lydia.
This is important.
UAW.
From UAW.
So this lady is from the union. So the unions are one of the primary ways in which socialists organize. And I know a lot of people know people in unions. I know a lot of people are in unions, but you got to understand, unions, all unions are controlled by socialists. And then they use the unions to recruit more socialists. This is very literally something that we heard from the Revolutionary Communist Party of America. They flat out told us they're going to organize and recruit more communists through the unions and the workplaces and the college campuses. Look at what that sign says. Bring out worker power to defend, I think that says Palestine. But this is about recruiting far leftists from the unions.
Local 2179.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lydia DeCook. And
Hi, everyone. My name is Lydia DeCook.
I've never done call and response. I'm so sorry. And I am a union worker.
And I am a union worker.
From UAW Local 2179.
From UAW Local 2179.
But I am speaking here today.
But I am speaking here today.
In a personal capacity.
In a personal capacity.
This rally and march.
This rally and march.
Was called today.
Was called today.
In part. By New York City Labor for Palestine.
By New York City Labor for Palestine.
Because we witnessed. Along with the rest of you. The violent arrests. Made of those participating. In the encampment on Columbia's campus yesterday. New York City organized labor. Decided there was no world. In which we didn't come out. To show what the power of the working class. Of New York City can really do. And stand in solidarity. With all of those arrested and harassed by the NYPD. We call for all charges against the protesters. Both academic and criminal. To be dropped immediately. And we call for all cops off of the campus. Immediately and permanently. One of the founding principles. Of Labor for Palestine. Is answering the call. Of the Palestinian General Federation of Trade Unions. To end all complicity. And stop arming Israel. If you are a union worker. Make some noise right now. I wanted to talk a bit today. About some unions that are answering that call. Iron Workers Local 29. Painters Local 10. Portland Federation of School Employees. Local 111. And the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 48. Now, I just want to point out the list of unions that are supporting this. If I presented that list to conservatives, do you know what they would say? They would say, all of those people are conservatives. And I know that because we've already had someone in the chat saying, with the exception of the teachers union, but like the electrical workers and the iron workers, conservatives literally believe that everyone in those unions is conservative, when in fact, those unions are supporting far left causes. So are they really all conservatives? Really? There are a lot of communists and a lot of like people that are that are sympathetic to communists in all of the trades. And I think conservatives make the assumption that all those people are on their side when those people are not on your side.
All of these locals have passed resolutions in their union that call for an end to arming and funding Israel that demand Israel out of Gaza and the West Bank and for labor everywhere to stop the shipment of arms to Israel.
Isn't it well known that Marxists influence the unions? Apparently not, because I've already had conservatives in the chat on Twitter saying, all of those trade workers are conservative. 90% of the people in unions are conservative. So no, it's not well known. It's not well known in the same way that I hear from conservatives all the time. Carlin, I don't know why you talk so much about capitalism because we know the Marxists want to attack capitalism. And then I say, okay, how do you define capitalism? And they can't define it. They have no idea. So no, it isn't well known. It's not well known at all.
Shipment of arms to Israel. The Association of Legal Aid Attorneys. UAW Local 2325. Are currently being subpoenaed. By Congress. For their anti-Israel resolution. Which was passed by a majority vote. Of the rank and file workers. The resolution called for a permanent ceasefire and the end of the occupation of Palestine. And now this union is being investigated by Congress. For
This isn't a chant. This is call and response. This is what they do at protests when they don't have a microphone. So what is going on is they have a huge crowd of people. She is standing in the middle, giving her speech. The rest of the crowd is repeating her speech to amplify it out to the crowd so that everyone can hear it. That's what's going on.
More anti-Semitism. This is an attack on workers' free speech. And on the democratic principles. On the foundation of unions.
Shocking.
How do we feel about that? Are we going to stand for it? No. As a union worker, I am calling on the working class of New York City. And the working class of the entire world. To use our power. To shut this city down. For the people of Palestine. We are the ones who keep this city moving. Only we have the power to make it stop. I want to end this on a chant. It's who's got the power? We've got the power. What kind of power? Union power. Who's got the power? We've got the power. What kind of power? Union power. Thank you.
Guys, this was earlier in the day.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
For people who might be just joining, just to be really clear, this was earlier in the day when we're tuning in to like their current content. They're just singing songs and stuff. So we're going back and we're listening to some of their speeches and their chants and things like that. So this isn't totally live, but it did happen earlier today in around Colombia.
From the river to the sea. From the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. Palestine will be free. From the sea to the river. From the sea to the river. Palestine will live forever. Palestine will live forever. Let's hear how loud you can get. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. I want to invite someone who inspires us all. Someone who inspires us all. And calls out to many people across this country and the world. And calls out to many people across this country and the world. Susan Sarandon. Susan Sarandon.
Susan Sarandon! Hello, Susan Sarandon!
I am not a student.
I am not a student.
I am not Palestinian.
I am not Palestinian.
But I am here to support the students.
To support the students
who understand that it is very important to have their voices heard.
To have their voices heard.
And that this is their right in a democracy.
And this is their right in a democracy.
Yep.
Especially in a place of education.
Especially in a place of education.
And supposedly higher thought.
And supposedly higher thoughts.
To be
attacked
with racism and intolerance is not acceptable. There are many people who stand with you. You must know that you inspire so many people. People who are afraid. People who are old and afraid. Are looking to you. And your voices. And your organization. And your tenacity. And your kindness. To make a difference in this situation. You give me hope. To me and so many people. And in the end, the truth will win. It's important at this point. To challenge all systems. That are full of hate. And bigotry.
That means capitalism.
And injustice. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Susan Sarandon. Thank you. Yeah, where was Tim Robbins? Exactly. Amelia, thank you for the super chat. I talked to a conservative today and they couldn't get destabilization at all. They wanted to prove why leftists are hypocrites and missed the point. How do they not get their worldview at this point? Is it just... Okay, so conservatives do not understand leftists because conservatives refuse to listen. What we're doing right now in sitting here and watching this protest footage that's been happening throughout the day around Colombia, conservatives don't do this. Now, I know I have some conservatives in my audience, and so there, of course, are exceptions to this rule. But most conservatives would go, it's too hard. I don't want to watch it. I don't know how you can do this, Carlin. They're annoying. I don't want to. And they would whine and complain and make every excuse in the book about why they can't listen to the left. Now, their influencers are just as bad because their influencers also don't watch what's going on. And so they are completely incapable of informing their audience about who the left is and what they actually think. So they are incapable of wrapping their heads around this. They're incapable of understanding it because they don't spend any time in it. I mean, that's like the best answer I have.
Free Palestine! Free
fast forward a little bit.
Self from Iran.
Columbia University.
Eugene Perrier.
From Breakthrough News.
Breakthrough News is what we're watching. Okay. So the person they're watching now, Breakthrough News is who's doing this live stream. Breakthrough News is massively lefty, and I guess this guy's specifically from Breakthrough News.
I think it's important that we remember that Columbia University was established as a colonial institution.
Capitalist.
It was established by the King of England to support his project for the ethnic cleansing of indigenous lands. And here we are in 2024. And Columbia University continues to stand for the ethnic cleansing of indigenous lands. And let's not forget that we're here in Harlem, the home of Malcolm X, who said that the Zionist project is a form of colonialism. And let's also not forget that the assassination of Malcolm X was aided, abetted, and partially carried out by the NYPD. So just like the Native Americans, just like the black people of Harlem, and just like the Palestinians today, we stand here against ethnic cleansing, colonialism, and genocide. We also must take the lessons of the past few days. This isn't just an Israeli war. It's an American war too. Without Joe Biden backing a genocide, Israel can't even defend itself from Iran. So that's the price for the USA of unconditional support for genocide. That we will be drawn into a war that will engulf the whole region.
True, correct.
Netanyahu and Biden together are pouring gas all over the Middle East.
Exactly, Nanopai.
They just want to light the match. They don't care how many millions die. So I ask you, will we let them do this? Will we keep standing up? Will we say no more money for Israel's crimes? Will we say U.S. hands off the Middle East? I think we will. And I am proud to stand here with you in front of this colonial institution and its paid bodyguards in the NYPD. They might have killed Malcolm X. They may have murdered 30,000 Palestinians. But they can't kill our struggle and our resistance ever. Thank you, Free Palestine.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Brick by brick, wall by wall, Zionism will fall. Brick by brick, wall by wall, Columbia will fall.
Okay. Now, So now what they've decided to do, and I saw this part earlier, now what they're doing is the camera's black because the journalists are scaling the wall to go into Columbia's campus. And when they do that, they're going to explain, they're going to give actually a pretty decent overview of the history of this whole thing. So if you guys are wondering, all of the series of events that the socialists believe have led up until today, they're actually going to talk about that. But right now, because they can't get in the front door directly because they've locked all the doors to campus, they are literally scaling the wall. And that's why the camera's off. Because I saw this earlier. Yeah, well, they had to go up over the wall because Colombia wouldn't let them in.
That's being like occupied right now. Like when I was 10, there was Palestine. We are in.
See, now they're in the campus. Now they have to recombobulate themselves from scaling the wall.
Or didn't apply. This is the site of one of the biggest struggles right now for Palestine in the country, which really started 6 months ago. It really started when this latest iteration of the genocide began. There was massive student protests here at Columbia University, and people, the Palestinian organizers, Students for Justice in Palestine, they were mounting a divestment campaign, and that escalated several times. First with the banning of SJP and JVP, which is Students for Justice in Palestine and Jewish Voice for Peace. They were banned under what was basically a trumped up charge. Columbia University changed its own rules and made rules that basically said that you had to apply for a permit to hold a demonstration 6 weeks in advance. Obviously, it's really difficult, to say the least, to apply for a permit 6 weeks in advance and have a demonstration that is still even relevant by the time it happens. So students basically went ahead and continued to organize, and they were banned for that. So that was a sort of major controversy. There was the chemical attack that took place.
Oh, this was interesting. So I don't know how true this is, but the socialists seem to think that Colombia attacked them with, Zionists attacked them with chemicals for protesting against what was going on in Gaza.
Chemical attack where these Zionist students basically threw what is known as like skunk spray. It's used widely in the West Bank, in Palestine, but the students here were sprayed with it, and they actually incurred like really, really awful injuries. Some of them were hospitalized, and this is like a spray that basically, like, the stench doesn't come off your skin for months. Sorry, not months, weeks. And that all sort of culminated. The university was doing nothing about divestment. They were doing nothing to divest their endowment funds, which amount to $14 billion from Israel. They wouldn't even divulge what their investment portfolio was invested in. So basically, the students decided to escalate, and they decided to escalate with this encampment. And sorry, not this encampment that you're seeing right now, but they decided to escalate by setting up an encampment on the lawn over here, which I'll zoom in on. So if you can see, okay, looks like an announcement is being made.
Can everyone hear me? All right, we're going to be doing onboarding for anyone who's willing to be in a red role. There will be more clarification of what this means, so if you're curious,
Okay.
come meet us in the Northeast
Right now.
So what they're doing right now, and I don't know if you guys can actually hear that, but the announcement that's being made is they're doing onboarding training for people in a red role
A red roll is someone that is willing to be arrested during the protest. So they actually do training around this. I mean, just think about that for a second. At a protest that they're like organizing on the fly, they actually make sure they have time out to train people for what to do if you get arrested during the protest. Would conservatives ever do that? No.
But basically, it's risk of arrest and suspension.
Okay, so right now they're doing onboarding training for people who are willing to risk arrest. Obviously, these students are risking arrest by being here. They haven't been threatened with arrest or suspension yet, but the first encampment, that's what happened. They were all arrested. They were all threatened with suspension, and some of them were actually suspended via email. I'm just gonna transition over to the tripod right now.
Our comrades outside who are currently protesting.
Sorry, just bear with us. Oh, sorry. Can you come with me?
I'm gonna fast forward a little bit. Let's see try to find some more speeches to watch. Well, let's see what's going on live right now. Oh, they ended it.
There's a guy.
Okay, they ended the stream 19 minutes ago. Okay, so we're just basically going back over. I want to find some speeches to watch. Let's see, that was about where we were.
Don't. H-Mart apparently.
They're onboarding people who are there who are down. Is this live?
Yeah.
They're asking you if the plan is in front of a live camera.
I'm covering the mic, but someone talking. Go ahead. They're like are you guys doing like a?
When do they come into the shot?
Oh, it's really good, yeah. Oh, okay. Do you want some?
No, it's okay. It's yours.
Okay.
I'll go find one later.
Yeah, someone went to H-Mart apparently. Yeah. So, oh wow, yeah, the H-Mart bag is right here. So yeah, if we want to just face the camera, but yeah. So how'd you guys hear about when did you guys start like coming out to the encampment?
Just very planned. I don't know if I want to answer that one.
Okay. So how'd you hear about it? How'd you get involved?
Do you want me to answer that? Yeah. Can you answer that? I think, well, I don't want to get too specific into details, but I think through my involvement with Columbia University Apartheid Fest, I learned that there's an action occurring. And yeah, I learned that there was an action occurring. And we were recruiting for people to join the encampment, and I felt an overwhelming sense of obligation to my community members. I just felt truly so, I knew of the risks, and I just truly felt so compelled for Palestine, for my community members who have been unjustly suspended by Columbia, for faculty members who have been unjustly disciplined. And yeah, I just felt a really strong responsibility to aid Columbia University Apartheid Fest, or QUAD, to reach their demands, which are full financial transparency from Columbia and their investments, and 2, divestment from those institutions, and 3, full amnesty for all of the protesters at the encampment who were participating, as well as full amnesty for faculty members.
Is that volume better?
And how does it feel when you got that email from Manoush Shafiq saying, "Oh, we're allowing NYPD on campus to arrest your fellow classmates"? I mean, what was your reaction to that?
I think it was also really maddening because it was so clear that their plan was to say, you guys were suspended, so you can't be here anymore. So like, it's okay if we arrest you. But even the NYPD came out with a statement saying that they were confused. They were like confused as to why they were arresting us. Like they were here because of Shafiq, but that we were totally peaceful, and like they weren't really sure why like we needed to be here. And that their excuse was so flimsy because it was totally illegal. None of the or I won't say none, but a majority of the students were not suspended before the arrests. The suspensions came after the arrest. So it's really, really clear that it just it was so insane. So arbitrary. It was so arbitrary, and it was so silly. Like it's almost like
the NYPD is like, I don't know what I'm doing here. You're doing something wrong.
yes, like
Yeah.
how are you gonna be worse than
Yeah.
the NYPD?
Yeah. I think what's interesting is like they really thought, I guess Manoush thought that you guys would just like go away if everyone was like arrested or suspended, that like people would be like, oh,
Yeah.
like, well, I guess they started suspending people, like we're gonna go home. But what is your reaction to the fact that I think the encampment has basically like quadrupled in size?
Yeah, well, so I always have to say this is not the encampment. The original encampment was on the east lawn, but I was one of the people arrested, and I completely expected for everything to just like, I mean, I thought that was the end at least of that demonstration, and I knew people were still picketing. People really rallied when they heard that the NYPD was coming. I mean, we started in very small numbers, and the amount of people who had joined the encampment since we first started it, and the amount of people who started picketing around the lawn was just incredible. And after we got arrested, it was really scary. Emotions were really high to see your friends and your peers and your community members be dragged away by NYPD and cuffed and brutalized in the way that NYPD brutalizes people. But when I was on the bus and I saw like when we were on the correctional facility bus and we saw like everyone rally around like from the lawn to the gates, it was just I felt such an overwhelming sense of solidarity and just joy. I mean, I was so scared, but that fear was completely overshadowed by just pride. And then when we were in jail support, or when we were in the holding cell, we were informed that there was a second demonstration, a second gathering on the other lawn that was taking place, and I was just completely overjoyed, and everyone started jumping, and we were just so happy. And I'm just so proud of the community and camaraderie and solidarity, and immense work and sacrifices that everyone has made.
You heard about the second demonstration in jail?
I remember I came out. I was one of the first people who came out. And then there was just like so many community members outside to welcome us, and I think I was confident that there would be people there. Even when we were in the bus, like people were immediately like into action. Like they were like, this is not right. This cannot happen. Um, and I was already so like overwhelmingly like happy to see everybody standing in solidarity with us, and more importantly with Palestine. Um, and someone ran up to me and they were like, they took over the other lawn. They took over the other lawn, and I was like, what? I was like, what is happening right now?
Unbelievable. And I was just, yeah, like also it's risky.
Yes,
Yeah.
but they were ready, and it's like to show you that like the students want this. Like the students want divestment, and they know that what's happening in Palestine is not right.
What's up? Sorry. What's up? Oh, the mic needs to be
Ah!
closer. Sorry.
God!
Like, I know that there's been a lot of repression since October 7th. I mean, the arrests were not the beginning of it.
My ears
Can you
just
tell
blew
us about
out.
what the atmosphere has been like at Columbia in regards to the Palestine movement?
So rude.
I think in regards to the atmosphere, um, I think the student movement at this point, like it's mass. It's so electric. But even back then, there was so much support. But I think they were afraid, like to speak out. But we can't be afraid. 40,000 people, 40, plus like more than that, are dead in Gaza, and it's not time for us to
It's
be
not my
afraid. And
fault.
I think
It's their
taking
fault.
that step to show everyone like
we are in community together, and then we will keep each other safe no matter what, no matter arrest, NYPD, Shafiq, Shafiq saying something crazy in her testimony, being like, "No, I don't want Colombia to be cursed by God." like curses by God, be damned. Like, we will not be stopped, and we will not be afraid, and we will stand together.
I wasn't the only one who thought that was hilarious. See, the students watched too.
To support these demands for financial transparency and divestment, so that we might be one step closer to a free Palestine.
And so it's safe to say you guys aren't planning on leaving.
I'm not planning
I'm
on
not
leaving.
planning on
I'm not
leaving.
leaving. Yeah.
We're not leaving.
One thing that when I was part of the encampment, people were telling me, I mean, the administrators, they came down with those flyers and they were like handing out flyers, and apparently, they were trying to use the excuse of graduation. Excuse me. And they're trying to say, for those who don't know, graduation is coming in 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks. So, do you think like this struggle could intensify if students continue to occupy the campus into say like next week or like the week after?
The struggle, like,
Or, like yeah, the fight for Palestine, the fight for divestment. Do you think it might intensify if it like the closer it gets to graduation?
I think that's an interesting question, because I think how graduation has been framed is it's been like something like really important to the Columbia community, and like, it's Columbia has also, been using graduation and like our participation academically as a way to get students to not like as a way to silence students, to like hold it over their heads. And Columbia will tell you that the people in this Columbia will try to frame the people in this in the encampment and in this gathering as outsiders, as people who aren't actually a part of the Columbia community. These people aren't graduating. These people don't deserve to graduate, or these people don't deserve to be a part of the Columbia community. We're separate. But the truth is, people who are graduating are here. People don't want to go to graduation. People want to support Palestine. People, are not in support of what Colombia is doing. Colombia will try to frame our struggle that as one that is small, as one that is not a part of the larger community, but it is the community. We are Colombia. This is the struggle. We're taking back Colombia, and we're taking over Colombia.
Question: as a SJP alum, how'd you? yeah, yeah. As a GW.
So he just said he was an SJP alum. SJP alum is Students for Justice in Palestine. At Columbia, the SJP chapter was suspended like 6 months ago at the very beginning of all this. And that's one of the things that really kicked all this off and like really pissed the students off, because they had this activist organization that was for people in Palestine, and the university suspended them.
2018 was my graduating year. But I've seen this sort of movement and the struggle for Palestine change so much, even just in the last 6 months. But the way people are talking about it is so different. What would you say your experience has been like at Columbia University, or like since you've started learning about Palestine? How would you say people's minds have changed? That the culture has changed, the conversation has changed around Palestine.
I think, personally, I've witnessed a lot of students growing. I think initially, just like in this one year, I've had, interactions with people in clubs and different organizations who, when asked about these issues, or when Palestine comes up in conversations, as they do on this campus, they'll say, "I don't know," or that's different from me, or that doesn't really affect me. And now I'm seeing these students come to the sit-ins, or come to these demonstrations, or even actually come into the lawns, and risk potential disciplinary action or arrest. Or I'm also seeing these students share immense information and resources about what we're doing online. So I think people are starting to realize that we are all Palestinian. Like, this cause affects all of us. We are all in this struggle together. We're all implicated.
Struggle
as
against
students of Columbia
capitalism.
University, a part of an institution that invests in the genocide in Gaza. But also, this is not a cause that exists in a vacuum for anyone. None of us exists in a vacuum. We're all in this together. We are all impacted by it, and we all
Yes.
need to play our part. And
The long march through the institutions started at Columbia before World War II because the Frankfurt School came over and set up shop at Columbia. Columbia is the home base for the Marxist Cultural Revolution in the United States.
And I think that's something that I'm seeing people continuously grow into.
How did you guys get involved in this issue? When did you first learn about the Palestinian issue, and why have you dedicated so much of your time and your care and your effort to this cause?
I think it was when SJP and JVP got suspended that I really jumped into everything. But I've always had the thought that all our struggles are connected. We are all connected and we are all responsible for each other. And it was just about finding that community where everyone pours everything from them into a free Palestine, into Palestine will free us all. Like this is a liberation movement that is connected to every other liberation movement out there. And we really
No,
just have
it
to
was before
and
World War
it's
II. It
just
was in
really
the
a free
30s.
space that I think what was so special about the encampment was that we created a space that does not exist within this institutional framework. This is a space where we know we are aligned, like we all care so deeply, and this is what we are willing to make sacrifices for. Like it's okay that we're not comfortable. There are bigger things out there. There are bigger this is bigger than all of us, but it is also all of us. Like we are all together. Like we have a community that will stand for each other here now, in the future, like crossing time, crossing space, crossing physicality. I'm just looking around now and I'm seeing everyone sitting together, and I'm a better world is possible, a community where we all
A collective.
prioritize love is possible, and we have to keep fighting for that. I don't know if I answered your question.
No, you more than answered my question. I don't want to keep you here too long, but maybe final question is, the whole world is really watching. I think students around the country are watching. I saw at Yale University they're having a similar sit-in style, occupation style demonstration.
I heard about that. Stu is there.
Okay, wow, I didn't even know that.
Hunger strike.
What would be your message to students?
Yale University is doing a hunger strike. Actually, Stu Studio is there. He was posting video about it earlier today.
On other campuses who might be afraid or don't know what to do, what would you tell them if they're looking to you?
Squishy Face over on Rumble is a bit naive. Squishy Face on Rumble says they have no idea what they're talking about. This is a hippie mentality. No, Squishy Face, that is incorrect. They know exactly what they're talking about. They are completely consistent. And if you come back to my channel and keep watching my content, you will see that.
For inspiration,
I think one really big thing is that our campuses, our communities are not limited to this space. Like we are connected by this movement for liberation. Like what I said about crossing physicality, no matter where they are, we will support each other. And in knowing that we have each other, I think we can feel stronger to stand up. Really, like the people united, it's a little corny, but like the people united will never be defeated. Do you want to add anything to that?
No, I think you said it all. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I feel like yeah, I think it's hard to be it's scary. It's scary to think about these movements, but these movements don't start with us. They've already started. They've already been moving. They've already been starting. They start in Palestine. That's where the movement starts, and the movement has already been picking up momentum. Now we're just letting the pieces fall into place. Like it's only a matter of time. The question is not whether or not campuses need to organize, or whether or not we need to organize, or whether or not we need to be part of this movement. It's when. The question is when. So the sooner the better. I'm urging all campuses and all communities and all cities to join the movement for liberation for Palestine, and for liberation for communities and nations
and other entities that are also occupied and also facing colonial occupation or settler colonialism.
That
We
means
want to create change for
capitalism.
everyone, and that's a movement that has been going on since before we were here. It's so it's only a matter of time of when you will join this inevitable history.
I think one last thing to add to that too is that like it's not really about what we have to say in these ivy walls or these like high institutions. Like our job, I feel our responsibility as students and as people is to amplify the Palestinian cause. At the end of the day, like we are here to support Palestine. We are here for Palestine. It is not about us. We're talking a lot about campus repression, but at the end of the day, this is campus repression because they want to hide Palestine, and that cannot happen.
That's incredible. Honestly, everything you guys are doing is so inspiring, and it's just thank you so much for speaking with us. I really appreciate all the work you're doing. So yeah, we're just gonna keep rolling with the live coverage, but yeah. um, yeah, no, please. It's a free flowing space, but yeah, so there are a lot of people out here. We just spoke to some folks who joined this movement because of the suspension of JVP and SJP, which was not too long ago. What, that was November? That was November. And already you have students who were spurred by that moment, who were spurred by that repression to fight for Palestine. And now, they are performing civil
Exactly,
disobedience. They're
T-Bone
speaking out.
Man.
They're heavily involved in
Exactly.
the divestment campaign here at Columbia. So, it just goes to show how this movement has really just been a sea change. I mean, this is not just changed the country, but it's changing the world. You really can't think of the reality we live in today as anything but a post October 7th reality. I mean, it's really changed so much. I don't know if there's any other interviews, but I can keep going. So for those that are just joining us right now, we're on the Columbia University campus. We're on, yeah, of course. Thank you so much for speaking with us. Yeah, thank you so much for everything. So we just, what's that? Okay. So we're gonna turn to some more interviews later, but yeah. So right now we're on the Columbia University campus. This is the site of the second encampment, which started after the first encampment, which was on the lawn just to my left. But basically, this has been a struggle that's been bubbling here for not just for the last few days, not just for the last 2 or 3 days, as some people have framed it, but really it's been the culmination of 6 months and really years of anger with Columbia University, who has refused to divest from Israel, from Israeli apartheid and Israeli genocide. Columbia University has a $14 billion endowment. That is their investment fund, much of which I'm sure is invested in, whether it be in Israeli bonds or weapons manufacturers, technology companies that aid and embed Israeli apartheid. So the movement for divestment is one that has spanned years. I believe it started with.
Just to give you some perspective, he just said that Columbia has a 14 billion with a B dollar endowment. And that's significant. Most universities don't have a $14 billion endowment. But the reason that Harvard can never be defunded, no matter if you pull all their federal funding or not, is Harvard has a $60 billion endowment. So just really think about that. Harvard's endowment is over 3 times the size of Columbia's endowment. That's why even if you take all federal money away from Harvard, they literally can still pay for every student to be there, like completely tuition free, because of the $60 billion endowment.
With the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement, the BDS movement, but it is basically one of the main calls of campus organizers of Students for Justice for Palestine organizations across the country. Is they launch campaigns to divest their school's endowment from Israel. And usually the way this goes is the students petition, they raise awareness around the campaign, they pass a divestment resolution in the student body, whether it's like the student senate, student government, whatever, and then they have a mandate to go forward and tell the university, hey, the student body doesn't want their tuition money, aka their own money or their family's money, being used to fund a genocide. And so far, I don't think there's been a single U.S. university that has actually divested their funds from Israeli apartheid.
Nope, and there never will
I was
be.
telling the young women I just spoke to,
There
schools fight tooth
never
and
will
nail
be.
over their endowments, and they fight tooth and nail, not even over the demand of divestment, but even just revealing what's in the investment funds. They want to keep that completely hidden. I'm sure because they're embarrassed. I'm sure they're profoundly embarrassed by what they're invested in. So Colombia passed divestment resolutions, I think several times, not just once, but several times they passed a mandate for divestment. But the school has yet to actually divest its funds. And that's where the encampment came in. That is where the idea of the encampment came in. Basically, students were frustrated. They were frustrated with the lack of progress, with Colombia totally stonewalling the students. And over the last 6 months, they've continually escalated, and they've continued to protest, and they've continued to say, you have to stop this, because now these funds, this money is literally being used to aid and abet this genocide. And it all kind of culminated in the encampment. And the encampment, which it started 3 days ago. I mean, it literally feels like ages since it started, but it started 3 days ago. And I was there, embedded. I actually slept there the first night, and I was speaking to these students, and they were saying, yeah, we're doing this because we're tired. We're doing this because we're sick of just getting the roundabout from Columbia University. We would like to actually see some progress. And they decided to set up tents on that lawn over there. It was incredible. And the movement spread like wildfire. I mean, by the time we woke up the next morning, it was like the whole world had descended on Columbia University on day 2 of the encampment. And that was the last day of the encampment. Day 2, around 3 p.m., is when Manoush Shafiq, the university president, called on the NYPD to come in and arrest everyone. And this is actually this is not ordinary. It's actually extraordinary, because
True.
for the last 50 years, since 1968, which is when there was this massive occupation on Columbia University's campus against the Vietnam War, since that protest, the Columbia University basically agreed to never allow NYPD on the campus. That the university had to actually allow the NYPD to step on its campus, and Columbia had some, basically sovereignty in that sense. And Manoush Shafiq, that precedent lasted for 50 years. Manoush Shafiq overturned that with the strike of a pen, or with the tap of a key on her keyboard. She sent out an email and said, I'm allowing the NYPD to arrest my own students.
That's going to come back to bite her.
People
She's
who
probably
paid
going to lose her
good
job.
money to be here. And that is what happened yesterday. You may have seen the videos of the arrests that took place on the lawn over there. Over 100 students were arrested. Many of them were threatened with suspension. Some of them were actually suspended. And now, what you're seeing now was basically a direct response to that. As the arrests were happening, there were students that were surrounding the encampment, and they were so angry. They started chanting, let them go, free Palestine. And they just hopped over that fence you see behind me. They literally just started flooding over it, and they set up this
Exactly,
here.
T-Bone
And,
Man.
as you can see,
Exactly.
the number of people here is huge. It's actually way bigger than the last encampment. The last encampment was maybe, I think 100 students were arrested, but there are several hundred here. There are several hundred here, but I think we have another one of the protesters. We have another member of the encampment who was arrested. Can you tell us your name and what you do here?
Yeah, so my name's Elliot. I'm a graduate student at the Columbia School of Social Work and a student at Union Theological Seminary.
So you were at the first encampment, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And can you tell our viewers a little bit about how this encampment idea started, or what it was sort of in response to? Yeah, where did this idea come from?
So the idea came out because of the lack of options, viable, feasible options for real change on campus. Columbia University used um, the so-called options for us to navigate and go through these processes, um, pretending like this would actually reflect the students. So the Columbia administration claims to represent students and claims democracy and claims that if we go through these processes, our voices will be heard. We've gone through all these processes, um, and none of them seem to satisfy the Columbia administration, um, and they did not reflect what the Columbia students wanted. So um, we've tried referendums, we've tried meetings with presidents, with deans, um, all ultimately not proving to be a democratic process that truly
That means
reflects the students.
socialist.
Um, so we came to the consensus.
When socialists
We
say
want
democracy,
a
they mean
peaceful
socialism.
encampment on a lawn that we as students pay for, a lawn where we are told that we can recreate, express our concerns, express our beliefs. Um, and so this is exactly what this lawn is meant for.
Right. For the viewers, I mean, th- this lawn is literally like it's a designated demonstration space. It's a designated recreation space.
Exactly. And every single day, you'll see students um, hanging out, recreating, um, having rallies, protests. Um, and so this is completely in line with the policies that Columbia put out for us. We did not break any policies. We were all in the right, and we know we're on the right side of history, period.
And it's not just that Colombia has like refused the demands. They've actually repressed you guys. They've called pro-Palestinian students anti-Semitic. They've banned groups. Can you talk about the level of repression that Columbia University has thrown at the students here?
Yeah, absolutely. So we know we're anti-war, um, and we're pro-peace. Um, Functionally, Colombia is repressing anti-war sentiment, anti-war demonstration, making them on the side of war. Um, we don't see that for the students who've been calling for war, calling for more bombs, for more weaponry, for more money for military. Um, so the dissonance, the contradictions have revealed themselves to be even more sharper, even more clear to the students, and that's why we see so many more students coming out despite this repression, despite Columbia specifically requesting police to come onto campus and mass arrest.
This police thing is gonna
In fact,
really
the
bite them.
New York City police
There is nothing that
said that
they
this
could have
was
done to
not
piss the
violent.
students
This was
off
very
more than the
peaceful.
police thing.
This showed no threat to any students. Yet Manoush Shafiq called the police under this false pretense. And so this invigorates the movement even more.
Exactly.
It shows the world that the students of Columbia are on the side for anti-war, pro-peace, for the liberation
Hang on.
of Palestine.
Hang
And,
on. Have we really descended to the level of retardia that we're going, they're all narcissists? You believe you're on the right side of history. They believe that they are on the right side of history. If you don't believe you're on the right side of history, then what the fuck are you doing? Are you a narcissist for believing you're on the right side of history? If you are not a narcissist for believing you are on the right side of history, then they are not narcissists for believing they are. Can we please be fucking better?
Uh, we won't stop until our demands are met.
Um, you know, people spend good money to be here. People save money, people work through high school, people's parents work, people families pool their money together to go to, what we're told is this studious prestigious, institution. How do you feel that the money you and all the students around us have spent and paid the university is being being used to arrest your fellow classmates?
Yeah, they're being used to arrest classmates and they're being used for genocide. Uh, that says it loud and clear.
Manu Shafiq, there was she sent out this email saying, "Oh, we're gonna arrest our classmates." She ended up violating this 50-year precedent of NYPD staying off this campus. Um, you know, do you think it reflects a sort of fear that she parted with this 50-year long policy? Do you think she's afraid of what's happening here?
None of the students at this university pay student loans. Try again.
Absolutely. This is a sign of Manu Shafiq crumbling under pressure, bringing out the most repressive elements um, to re entrench herself
I haven't seen a
as
human
a
centipede.
domineering president. We don't, all we have done here is exercise our rights. Um, but that seems like a threat to her stability, to uh, her comfort, her wealth, um, and her guilty conscience um, will be eating her from the inside.
I certainly hope so, because I mean the whole country is watching now, and I've seen other universities around the country emulating what's happening at Columbia University. What would be your message to students who are watching this, who feel inspired by it? What would be your message to them?
This is just the start. Um, we encourage all universities, the students of the universities, uh, to do whatever they can to stop the genocide in Palestine. Um, and so this is um, only the beginning. I'm sure more college campuses across the nation will do the same. And we know that most university histories are not pushed forward by administration, but the agents of that university history are the students.
Very well said. Do you think the people here are leaving anytime soon?
Oh, absolutely not. The morale here is so high. We see students from across the city come here, traveling from multiple boroughs, traveling from Long Island, traveling from Westchester. This has become a ground for people who are for the liberation of Palestine to really entrench and send a message to Manu Shafiq and Columbia University that uh, we do not stand for profiteering of genocide. We don't stand for wealth hoarding by genocide. We won't stop.
Yeah, they're making money off of genocide. I mean, the endowment is an investment fund, and they're invested in stocks and bonds, which return money to the university. So they're actually directly profiting off of genocide. Final question: you said this is a space of transformation. I think something that's so poignant about what's happening here is that Manouche thought that by arresting the students, by threatening to suspend them, that this would go away. And now I think the encampment has what has it quadrupled, quintupled? Like, what would you say about the way the repression, not just the arrest, but the banning of JVP and SJP, the skunk attacks, all this? How would you say that people that this has changed people's consciousness, the constant attempts to try to repress people?
Yeah, we see throughout history repression does not squash any resistance. Um, it only reinvigorates the spirit of the people. Um, and so, whatever they can and will try to do to stop the free expression of students will, of course, bring out more fervor, more passion, because we stand resolute and we have integrity. We can't say that for some of the people in the administration of Columbia University. We know that they have cushy.
So I posted a picture of that union organizer on Twitter earlier to demonstrate to people that union organizers are unions in general are working with the socialists on the Palestinian thing. And of course conservatives don't want to hear that because conservatives never want to hear anything. Someone literally responded to a picture of the union organizer by saying, "None of the people in this picture have jobs." Now let's just like wrap our heads around that for a second. The post is a picture of a union organizer. The post says, "Bring out worker power." The text of the post talks about the fact that they're using unions to organize socialist activism. And the response from conservatives is, "They don't have jobs." To a literal picture of a union organizer. If someone is a union organizer, by very definition, they have a job. They wouldn't be a union organizer if they didn't have a job. They wouldn't be able to be in the union if they didn't have a job. Like, we're talking about like basic levels of logic that just fly completely over conservatives' heads. Anyway.
Salaries. They think that they can leave and distance themselves from the people and the students of Columbia University, the people of New York City, but they can't, because we will demand a free Palestine and we will demand no more investments and profiteering off genocide.
Thank you so much. So there we have another student who was arrested, who was part of the first encampment and arrested for protesting a genocide. Apparently, a suspendable offense also at Columbia University. But you know, we're here. We're joined by a lot of different people. Um, we're joined by people from around the city, and people are finding their way in here, whether they're Columbia students or not, or old enough to be Columbia students. People, this has really set a fire underneath the movement. It is really it has really sparked new interest and new life. It has breathed new life into the student movement and the movement for Palestine. Feels like all eyes are on Columbia right now. I assume that's why you're here. Do you want to introduce yourself? Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you don't want to, do live, that's fine. We could do it. Okay.
I just want to say hi.
Yeah.
I have to let someone in over there.
Okay.
But great job.
All right.
Love you guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So she has to let someone in. But you know, that point that last student made, I think is really poignant. You know, again, I don't know if someone in the comments section can add some context here, but there were a bunch of board of trustees. Sorry, I just got to get my juice.
He's getting a juice
My
box.
juice box.
Wow. He's getting a juice box.
But there were a bunch of board of trustees who basically they sent letters. They sent letters to the administration to say, or sorry, not to the administration. The board of trustees, which are like the richest people who basically fund and donate to these universities, they were starting a movement across all of the elite institutions, all the elite colleges, basically. And they were calling on the donors to withhold their donations
Yep.
until
Taking a sippy.
until these colleges ban the pro-Palestinian student groups. And one of them was Bill Ackman. I think he's one of those hedge fund billionaires, but there were several. There were several of these billionaires who basically.
So, as a reminder, socialists are trying to redefine the term anti-Semitism in a couple interesting ways. One of the ways in which they're trying to redefine the term anti-Semitism is to say you can't be anti-Semitic towards someone if they have power. So it's kind of like what they did with racism, where racism means power plus privilege. So you can't be racist towards white people because white people have all the power. They're trying to do exactly the same thing to anti-Semitism. They're trying to say, if you are a rich hedge fund billionaire like Bill Ackman, it doesn't matter if you're Jewish. People cannot be anti-Semitic towards Bill Ackman because Bill Ackman has all the power, because he's a rich hedge fund billionaire. Because the socialists really do not like Bill Ackman because Bill Ackman has tried to blacklist them from jobs on Wall Street.
Basically were calling on the universities to ban pro-Palestinian groups, and they said, we're not going to donate until you do. And they basically held the universities hostage. Like, immediately after Bill Ackman sent this letter, it was like maybe a week later, Columbia University banned SJP and JVP. And, you know, now you see Manu Shafiq, the new president of Columbia University, she immediately caved after she was brought into Congress, you know, was grilled for, you know, basically not banning pro-Palestinian speech on campus. And she immediately breaks with 50 years of precedent and sends the NYPD on campus to arrest the students here. But as you can see, it hasn't worked. So,
Juice
you know,
box.
I really don't think these students are going away anytime soon. I haven't heard any student tell me yet that they will. And graduation is in a few weeks. So, you know, there's going to be increasing pressure on Columbia University to basically to get these students off this lawn, because they actually need this lawn to set up, because there are chairs that go on this lawn. They need to set them up, but there's an encampment here. So we'll see how they react. I actually didn't know this, but the students have been telling us that
they're chanting again. Guys, I gotta pee. I'll be right back.
Was saying that the students were completely peaceful and that they didn't understand why they were arresting people. But I think they're starting a program, so we're gonna go over and stream the program now. But just stick with us. We're gonna be covering the encampment at Columbia University.
All right, I'm back. Super quick. All right, I want to see if there are any more speeches or anything, any more interviews. Oh, hang on. They're doing a speech. Hang on. Again, guys, this is from earlier today at Columbia's campus.
Repeat after me. Repeat after me. Repeat after me. Repeat after me.
Oh, God.
Repeat after me. Repeat after me. We're having a teach-in about Columbia's relationship to war through research. If you are interested, move closer to Butler Library. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. We are honored to be speaking with you all today. We are PhD students from the chemistry department and a part of a group called Researchers Against War. We are invested in demilitarizing scientific research, and we're here to talk to you today about the pervasive hold that the DoD has over academic research in the United States. We got involved with this work after the October 16th call by the Palestinian trade unions to end all forms of complicity in the genocide, including contributions to military research. As we know, the United States has been supplying the IOF with weapons and funding to facilitate their genocide in Gaza, and as researchers who are predominantly funded by the United States military, we were faced with the fact that we are also complicit. As chemists, we have always been aware of the presence of the DoD in academic research. Every single lab that both of us has ever worked in or worked with has been funded by some way by the Department of Defense, and this funding is something that is widely accepted and highly sought after in academia in this country. The U.S. Department of Defense, which is comprised of all branches of the military, spent $7.5 billion in 2021 alone funding research at universities. There is an absolutely massive effort by the DoD over the past 6 decades to create a sustained relationship with research institutions like universities. These efforts have been successful in effecting a widespread financial dependence on the DoD for funding at pretty much every single research institution in America. Columbia University has a very prominent history with the DoD starting in 1945 with the Manhattan Project, which developed the first ever nuclear weapon, which was developed in the building that we both work in right now. The Manhattan Project served as the organizational model for American science in the second half of the 20th century. In the wake of World War II, the DoD ramped up its involvement.
No. You've been seeing men throughout the day. You've seen men give speeches. You've seen men on cameras, Woody. Like, just because we're watching 2 women right now doesn't mean it's majority women. I know you guys are, I know you're trying to do the typical conservative thing and you're trying to say this is because of feminism, but there's been like literal proof that there are men there. John Cusack spoke at this. I hope they got him on camera.
In scientific research institutions, with a number of initiatives and offices being established to sustain the relationship between universities and the military. DARPA, which is the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, was originally founded during the Cold War to fund projects with high impact for national security, for example, new weapon systems. And this is an agency that heavily funds the chemistry and physics departments here at Columbia, including the lab where we both work. The DoD, through these agencies and initiatives, funds a huge range of topics in applied and basic scientific research, everything from fundamental math research to whale migration patterns, neurological studies, and geology. And there's psychology and sociology research as well. There are overt examples of scientific research at universities being directly used in military operations. For example, Agent Orange, which was developed by a chemistry PhD student at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign, and the robot dogs developed by PhD students at Penn, which are currently being weaponized in Gaza, despite the students' wishes for their.
All right, they're complaining about war. Just fast forwarding a little bit.
They don't want to talk about what they're invested in. They don't want to talk about, who they're invested in, because obviously they're really embarrassed by that. And apparently Columbia University has agreed to divulge what's in their investment portfolio. So, that's huge, especially for a university like Columbia, which has a massive endowment. I think it's $14 billion. So, that's a lot of money that's invested in God knows what. And I guess the students will be.
They're
finding
about
that
to go to
out soon,
another
but,
speech on this.
that news came down during the first encampment. I was
Yeah, I saw
I
Norm
was
Finkelstein
there
was there.
when it was announced. That was like 3 days ago. So it just goes to show that pressure works, and it looks like there's another announcement being made right now. Okay. Oh wow.
I just want to note though, do you guys see how peaceful it is and how everyone's getting along and how like there's food, there's blankets, there's camaraderie, there's conversation. This is actually how socialist events are. Everyone is very nice to each other. Everyone's very welcoming. Everyone's very supportive and affirming. No one's fighting with each other. It's just like a really nice environment to be in. And again, like I compare like socialist events that I've been undercover at to like CPAC, and I felt much more comfortable at socialist events than I did at CPAC, like to a significant degree.
So they're saying right now that there are
And it
plenty
wasn't
of
because I agreed
tarps
with the
and blankets
socialists.
for anyone who wants to settle. There are a lot of people who are just like standing about right now because I think
Yep.
they've just arrived.
There's
So,
training, there's
plenty more
classes,
room.
there's
That's what
things
the
to do,
students are
there's
saying.
singing, there's
plenty more
poetry.
room for people to come and support the encampment here. So it's only growing and growing.
Well, no, Sith, I wouldn't show up in a MAGA hat to something like this. That absolutely would not happen. But I have shown up to CPAC dressed like I normally do, and I get weird looks from people. They don't like my hair. They think I'm too fat and yada yada yada. And I should be in a tailored fucking pantsuit with exactly the right haircut, with the best push-up bra that I can buy, and that is the assigned outfit for CPAC. So don't fucking say that don't show up in a MAGA hat and see what happens. Okay, show up to CPAC dress like I do on a normal day, which is like literally just jeans and a black t-shirt and my hair like I normally wear it, and see how that goes. Conservatives just don't fucking get it. They really don't fucking get it.
You just saw a statement given by FSJP, which I think is faculty
Exactly.
and staff for justice in Palestine.
Because they're not as judgmental about how people
they
look.
Face their own penalties. They face, consequences, particular consequences that students aren't facing, which is that they could lose their jobs, especially if they don't have tenure. Okay, there's someone speaking.
I don't dress like a hippie, bro. I wear jeans and a black t-shirt and usually a black jacket or sweater.
Yeah.
That's not a hippie. Try again, conservative. Every time they get it wrong. Every fucking time. I can't. You say the same thing over and over again. Conservatives don't fucking listen.
There's not really much that I can say. You all know why we're here. You all know why you are here. And so I wanted to use this time.
Come on, fix the volume. Fix the volume.
We're going to be switching audios.
Yes, please switch the audio.
And so I wanted to start by reading the poem.
No, not that one. Not that one. Wrong audio. Wrong audio, leftists. Guys, we're going to hang out and watch this a little while longer because I want to... Oh!
Do it as much justice as she does it.
Because I want to see it.
I am very excited to...
Because I didn't see this part earlier.
...a poem that I've come back to throughout this time. So, Rafik Ziada's poem. Today, my body was a TV massacre. Today, my body was a TV massacre that had to fit into sound bites and word limits. Today, my body was a TV massacre that had to fit into sound bites and word limits filled enough with statistics to counter measured response. And I perfected my English and I learned my UN resolutions. And still, he asked me, Miss Ziada.
Why is it that every conservative who I call out for being a conservative universally says, I'm not a conservative, even though you use conservative talking points? Sith, you are literally on a conservative platform. Sith on Rumble wants me to believe he's not a conservative when he's watching my live stream on a conservative platform. Are you fucking stupid, bro? Are you dumb? Why the fuck are you on Rumble?
You're not a conservative? Why the fuck are you? I don't believe you're an ANCAP, bro. I do not believe that at all in any way. Do you want to know why I don't believe you're an ANCAP? Because I know a lot of ANCAPs, and do you know what ANCAPs don't say? Try wearing a MAGA hat. That's not something ANCAPs ever say. Do you want to know why? Because Donald Trump is not anywhere close to ANCAP sensibilities, so there is not an ANCAP in the history of fucking ANCAPs that would say, try wearing a MAGA hat to a socialist event and see how that goes. Bro, you insult my intelligence. You insult my intelligence. And now because you're complaining, you're going to get a timeout. Every time. Every time. They use conservative talking points. They do the typical own the libs bullshit. And then when I call them out, they go, I'm not a conservative. Of course you're a conservative. Shut the fuck up.
Don't you think that everything would just be resolved if you would just stop teaching so much hatred to your children? Pause. I look inside of me for strength to be patient, but patience is not at the tip of my tongue as the bombs drop over Gaza. Patience.
No, Cheryl over on Rumble, it's not a good question about how these people would respond to MAGA people. It's not any good more like how oh my fucking God. I literally have conservatives now making the argument that they're more open and accepting than the libs. Cheryl, I know how you guys respond to people like me. I know you're not open. I know you're not accepting. I know you call me fat and ugly all the time on the internet. I know you can't sit and listen for more than 5 minutes without throwing a massive hissy fit. So, no, I don't actually care how these people would respond to you if you were wearing a MAGA hat. I don't care. Because the only reason that you would wear a MAGA hat to an event like this is to be antagonistic. The only reason you would wear a MAGA hat to an event like this is to own the libs. That's the only reason you would do that. And so you're expecting people to be open and welcoming to you when you're trying to own them for clout on the fucking internet? Grow up. Exactly. Charlie Kirk. If you're gay and not a Christian, I don't want you on my side. I have been told to get the fuck out of the conservative movement for years, and I left years ago. I was never a conservative, and I made a clean break with that movement at the beginning of 2021. So I know how you guys treat people that aren't you. We see it in your influencers all the time.
Has just escaped me. Pause. Smile. We teach life, sir. Rafif, remember to smile. Pause. We teach life, sir. We Palestinians teach life after they have occupied the last sky. We teach life after they have built their settlements and apartheid walls, after the last skies. We teach life, sir. But today, my body was a TV massacre made to fit into sound bites and word limits. And just give us a human story. You see, this is not political.
Amelia says, the amount of times I got into a fight with conservatives growing up for having emo bangs or listening to Blink 182 like they're edgy at all was ridiculous. Cons are basically still in high school. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. If conservatives don't like the way you wear your hair, then you're a leftist and they're going to own you on the internet. If conservatives don't like how you dress, you're a leftist and they're going to own you on the internet. If conservatives don't like who your friends are, if conservatives don't like your religious beliefs, if something you say makes conservatives cry because they're weak little fucking snowflakes. It's true. and it's depressing. It really is. Like, literally all conservatives have to do is not be assholes, and they could probably recruit more voters than these people. But because conservatives refuse to not be assholes, then all of us will suffer when these people win. Anyway.
Political, we just want to tell people about you and your people, so give us a human story. Don't mention that word apartheid and occupation.
I'm going to fast forward a little bit, see what else they have.
There are no drugs allowed on the camp. Free, free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free, free, free Palestine.
Oh God. Do you know who's going to hate the Unwoke underground more than anyone else? Conservatives. I promise you. Watch what happens when we officially launch the Unwoke underground, because it's not officially launched yet, but you guys kind of know about it because I've been hinting about it. Watch what happens. I'm going to get more shit from conservatives over this than I am from the left. I guarantee you. 100%. Anyway.
حبيب الله والصهيوني عدو الله. علي 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 علم الثورة علي.
They're speaking in tongues. Oh shit! What's going on? Oh, is that Arabic? Okay.
Free, free Palestine! Free, free, free Palestine! And I want you guys to say this loud. What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! If we don't get it, shut it down! If we don't get it, shut it down! If we don't get it, shut it down! If my dad doesn't get it, shut it down! If Baptist doesn't get it, shut it down! If Al-Aqsa doesn't get it, shut it down! 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 Mic check! Mic check! Mic check! Mic check! Mic check! We're gonna keep doing it until everyone repeats it. Mic check! 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 Repeat after me! Repeat after me! We are going to go over. We are going to go over the community agreements again.
Oh. Oh, good.
There are no drugs allowed on the camp.
There are no drugs allowed on the camp.
There are no alcohol allowed on the camp.
There is no alcohol allowed on the camp.
There's no drugs allowed on the camp.
There is no drugs allowed on the camp.
Yeah, I'm sure there's no drugs and alcohol.
Allowed on the camp.
No alcohol allowed on the camp.
We have placed trash bags
We have placed trash bags
along the gates.
along the gates.
So please make sure
So please make sure
you clean
On the water bottles that you take. So we do not waste it. Last thing. We have a lot of food. So if you're hungry, please take food. If you're hungry, all right. We're gonna set up for our next teach-in. This next hour will be from our.
Oh, they swapped out the mics. No. Okay.
Okay. We're back. We are back. Sorry, if you could step back with me. Yeah, no, you're good. So welcome back. I was checking the Twitter feed and it said 12K. I don't know if that means there are 12K people watching right now or if it's 12K. You're good. Anyway, welcome back to everyone who's been following this. We're at the Columbia encampment. The second Columbia encampment, the first one was crushed yesterday and all the students were arrested. But we're here now with another student who's shown up at the second encampment. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Ruby. I go here. I'm on the women's soccer team. Go Lions. And it was actually, I guess, it was on my way back from a away game where it was on October 8th. And my Instagram feed was just like mobs with what was happening, Israel bombing Gaza, and just based on what I know about the way people regard the lives of Black and brown people and people of the global South.
Let's move this way.
Global South means oppressed. It means the Southern Hemisphere typically, but it more so means like third world countries.
Indigenous people, there's just that feeling that it's going to be a massacre of a lot of innocent people. Nobody, politicians of this country are not going to blink an eye. The emphasis will always be to protect the monetary interests of the U.S.
Capitalism!
And that just like, it's not going to be evil violence because it's against people that don't have light complexions. I think when there's genocide against Black and brown people, it doesn't really go down as a tragedy. Leopold killed 20 million Africans in the Congo, and he's not on any list of any of the most evil people. So that was.
I think his name is around here somewhere.
Is it?
Probably.
So yeah, people that are indigenous to their lands rarely are recognized and defended for whatever reason. Later, thousands of lives later, and
why, yes,
it's
Milo.
just an incredibly
Yes, there is actually a very special episode of Socialism Saturday tomorrow for 420. But it's not because it's 420. It's not because it's Hitler's birthday. Although I was thinking about doing a live stream earlier in the day where we were watching Hitler speeches. I may still do that. I don't know yet, maybe. The reason that there is a very special episode of Socialism Saturday tomorrow is I will be joined by two communists, like real communists, members of the Revolutionary Communist Party of America, and we will be having a conversation with real socialists for Socialism Saturday on Hitler's birthday. So I think it's going to be a really great episode. I'm looking forward to it. I think you all should be looking forward to it. We will do that tomorrow night at 6 p.m. And we're crossing our fingers that the communists actually show up. And hopefully they do. And if they don't, maybe we'll just watch Hitler speeches. I don't know. We're going to see.
Jarring feeling to be outside asking for a ceasefire on innocent people, a genocide on children, in a place so populated by children because the grown-ups have already passed on due to the relentless violence of Israel and their militarized state. And
Comrades, hear them in the
to
background.
see the huge Israeli flags, people asking to end Jew hate, as if that is in the conversation at all, to be the counter protest to asking to end a mass massacre by protesting to end Jew hate is just wild to me. It's inconceivable. Yeah, let me know when Jew hate has started on this campus, because that has not been my experience in the least bit. And yeah.
So it sounds like you've been familiar with the issue of Palestine before October 7th. When did you first start learning about Palestine? And when was that?
Yeah, so not too much.
No, Kyle,
I
I
grew up
will
in the New York
not
City
be
public school
asking them that.
system.
Thank you.
I think it was in high school I had a teacher who, told us, I mean, my background, I'm black and white, so I grew up in a very more like American-based African diaspora conversations. So I think it was in high school we started talking about how Israel was given like the two-state and that sort of thing. And I had a teacher who was like, yeah, I don't think there can be much sympathy for their position now, given the mass violence they've incited on the Palestinian people. And I think that was the first time an educator had ever said that. That was my junior year at a high school in the Bronx. And yeah, ever since, I mean, I grew up on Obama. I went to his inaugurations, big Democratic household, and I had no idea that he was responsible, dropped more drone bombs and whatnot on the Middle East than any president in history. I had no idea he was a terrorist.
Oh, look, she doesn't like Obama.
What I was fed growing up.
How
as
fun.
an Obama kid.
So how did you hear about the encampment? How did you get involved in all this?
Yeah, luckily I have the right friends. I know people with big hearts who have been involved from the jump with this movement on this campus and other campuses. Friends from high school involved at Pomona, Harvey Mudd, and yeah, so just talking, posting. Yeah, I mean the encampment. I woke up and it was here, and yeah, it's just the efforts of the social media teams and all that has really flooded my feed and made it really easy to engage and be out here for the last 2 days.
Okay, the sound is okay. Let's you want to just move? What's that? No, let's just finish this. So can you talk a little bit about the fact that Manu Shafiq, she wrote this email saying that she's allowing the NYPD back on campus to essentially arrest your classmates. I mean, how did you feel about that?
Yeah, it was incredible to know that she was the one who incited the police and the NYPD to come. That was not on their own initiative. She pushed for that. So yeah, a lot of my friends, I really appreciate the phrase, she's outpigged the pigs. I think that's hard to do, especially the NYPD.
Wow.
And, yeah, no worries.
People obviously spend a lot of money to go here. They save money, they work jobs in high school, their families pull money together. How does it feel to know that, this money that people work so hard to then spend on education goes to funding genocide and, the mass murder of children, women, men?
Yeah, I think it's inescapable in this country. The money, tax money, everything, it'll always end up, as part of the U.S. imperialism and the U.S. war machine. We are militarism, like we are proxy wars. We embody that sort of bloody capitalism. So yeah, those are, and so those issues are solved. It'll be all the universities and all the interests of everyone who controls everything. And I think that's the nature of capitalism and how it's played out, especially in this country.
And
Bing!
you know, are you planning on leaving anytime soon?
Capitalism.
Do you know anyone that's planning on leaving anytime soon, or are you planning to stay here for the long haul?
Yeah, well, I'm graduating.
She's already said capitalism
locally,
more times
and
than
I
James
also
Lindsay
do
has
not pay
today.
tuition, which is a little tiny win, but no, I haven't heard of anyone who would give up on their life dreams just to go elsewhere, because eventually any money that you make, any taxes you pay on it, will all go to funding this genocide, attack, massacre on the Middle East.
And you know, graduation's coming up. Obviously, like around us, there are all these chairs, and the university's setting up all these bleachers and stuff. But do you think it'll, you know, obviously, the closer graduation comes, the university is going to feel more and more pressure to clear people out. Do you think that this could become like a really tense standoff if the students refuse to leave and, you know, they're trying to set up for graduation?
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think that graduation would be business as usual. I hoped it wouldn't. I'm still have been awaiting and still await the guidance from people that are way more talented organizers than myself, on how, you know, I can do my part in disrupting conscious raising and taking a stand as we've been doing at graduation as well.
Oh, are they going to protest
and I guess just
graduation?
to
That would
end,
be great.
Do you have any message for people at other universities who are watching this? I know for a fact people at other universities are watching this. They're really drawing inspiration from Columbia. What would you say to someone who's afraid to, you know, maybe do something like this, to take action to disrupt business as usual, like you said?
I'd say you have no idea how good it feels. I think yesterday waking up from the encampment yesterday was one of the first days I woke up without that tightness in my chest, that hopelessness. It's so beautiful to be part of this. You cannot escape.
This was
the
a couple
feelings of
hours
living through
ago.
a genocide.
Not that long ago.
So you might as well take those feelings and put them towards something that might actually make a difference, and let your community uplift you. Let the words that have been written about the situation uplift you. And yeah, you'll find that it'll guide you more than it'll scare you. So
Thank you so much. So we're just here at the Columbia University encampment, and right now there's a teach-in, or I think there's a speech happening. So we'll turn to that soon. But for those who are just joining us, we've been covering this for the last 3 days, the encampment at Columbia University, and people have been protesting. They've been occupying the front lawn of the university for divestment, to get Columbia University to divest its funds from Israel. It has a $14 billion endowment.
All right, guys. I think we're going to wrap it up. It's like 8:30. We've been doing this for a little while now. I feel like we made some good progress tonight. I feel like people got a taste for what's going on. Again, I definitely do encourage everyone to pay attention to Breakthrough News. They are actually doing pretty decent coverage of this. They were streaming last night. They have live streams from last night. They have live streams from today. They are lefty, but all they're doing is live streaming. It looks like, I don't know, maybe they'll go live again tonight, maybe they won't, but you can catch up with their footage there. I'm going to keep monitoring what's going on at Columbia. I encourage everyone to, keep in touch on that. But we're going to wrap it up for tonight. I will be back tomorrow for Socialism Saturday, where we are talking to real socialists about what they believe. And bro, you can't ask at the very end of a 3-hour stream for us to give you an answer about what causes every single problem in the world, because as it turns out, the answer to the question is actually significantly more nuanced than just capitalism is the cause of every single problem in the world. That's retarded. But we're not going to do that right now because we're ending the stream. And if we're going to have that conversation, it's going to be like adults, and it's going to be a nuanced conversation. So you can pretend you won all you want, but it sounds, you understand, right? It sounds literally retarded to say capitalism causes every problem in the world,
And if we just get rid of capitalism, there will be no more problems and there'll be no more crime, and everyone will have everything they need because communism always works out perfectly. No one ever starves under communism. No one ever suffers under communism. Communism throughout history has worked out perfectly. And so really it's capitalism that causes all the problems in the world. And if you can't give me an answer in 30 seconds about what actually causes every problem, then it must be capitalism. And our only answer is communism. Do you know how retarded that sounds? Like, really? Really? But we're not going to go into that right now because I'm signing off. Take care, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one. See you soon.